But yeah, no, VTubing drama, I normally don't get in, but I feel like since I've been gone for so long and major things have happened, I should probably like know about them. I should probably like learn about them. Retired hag VTuber watches Cinder drama stuff. I just want to learn. I just want to know who I shouldn't support in this economy. To be fair, I don't really watch big VTubers. I mostly just watch my friends. Yeah, I mostly just watch my friends. But I feel like I don't know, I feel like I should know shit. I feel like I should know shit. But even just like in my personal VTuber sphere, over the last year, party, eh. Yeah. That was V Shoujo. They like from again, I don't have a massive understanding what happened with all of these, but like V Shoujo like stole from charity or some shit and then closed down, which is absolutely diabolical. That shit is insane. Yeah, I don't know if we'll get around to watching that today, but that's something that I wanted to learn about too. But yeah, even just in my personal like VTubing life, over the last year that I've been gone, I've had a couple of friends rebrand, a couple of friends outright quit, like graduate, and then somebody I knew basically, I guess, got chased off the internet for being like a lying, cheating skank, to put it the best way I can. So even in my personal VTubing life, I guess shit's been wild, guys. Yeah, I guess shit's been wild. Yeah, right. I had to find out about it through friends because I've been gone. What happened, all I saw, so this is how I found out about it, okay? This is how I found out about it. The person, I'm not naming names, but the person involved, the person who like got chased off the internet, started mass leaving group chats that we were in. And I thought it was weird. I was like, oh, that's strange. However, inactive group chats, it's been a while. Like, sure, leave them. No big deal. Then I like went to reach out or something and I couldn't reach out. Like I went to send them a message to just be like, yo, I saw you leaving a fuck ton of groups. You good, homie? And I couldn't send the message. And so I did what any reasonable person does, which is I reached out to mutual friends and I was like, is this person okay? Like, I know I've been gone, but like, are they Gucci? Like, are we all right? Then, the mutual friends were like, oh, you don't know. And I was like, fuck no, I don't know. Why would I know? How would I know? And then after that I knew. So yeah. Yeah, man. It's been a wild year, I guess, in VTubing, even in my personal life. Oh, and in a completely unrelated note, completely unrelated. I guess the new Destiny thing sucks. I don't know. Completely unrelated. Completely unrelated. But apparently Destiny is not doing too good. Let me stop being fucking problematic on main. Yeah, that. I've heard not great things. I've heard not great things, which fucking sucks because I think Destiny is probably my second most streamed game, I would guess. Yeah. But yeah, basic thoughts are that if I can't stream Monster Hunter, I will find some other games to stream. Probably some like single player games. Okay, you know what? You guys are on screen share anyways, so let me just share my goddamn fucking Steam. All right, so like Steam, guys, out of all of these games, look at all of these games that I have. Look at all of these goddamn games I have, guys. Out of all of these games, I've probably played 10. Yeah. out of all these games, I've probably played 10. So, I mean, I guess if I can't play Monster Hunter, we just start picking games, man. We just start picking games and I just start fucking playing them. Because I have a lot of games. And you buy them with good intentions, right? You buy them because you're like, this looks super fucking sick. I want to play it. And then you never play it. And I have a really bad habit. I almost never buy games at full price. The only games that I buy at full price typically are Monster Hunter. Maybe like one or two other games a year that I'm looking forward to, I'll buy at full price. But yeah, I almost never buy games at full price. However, I am very bad about buying games on sale, even if I think I'm only vaguely interested. Even if I'm just like, oh, I don't know if I would like this, but it's like 60% off. So maybe I'll try it. My rule for games, guys, other than Monster Hunter, my rule for games is that they have to be at least 40% off for me to buy them. That's my rule. I never buy a game that is less than 40%. 39%? Nope. Yeah, I just don't fucking do it, man. I don't do it. So yeah, I have a lot of fucking games. Yeah. Anyways, hi Shay. What's up, fam? Yeah. Anyways, we might as well get into the thick of it. This is all of the Sinder drama, which from all of my understanding, here's my understanding of the entire Sinder debacle. And we're going to watch this, which is the initial video about it. And then I have like a 20-minute video that goes over what happened after that. And I guess she dropped like a huge doc. So this first video is just based off of, I guess, the initial statements. And here's my only understanding of what happened. Cinder was kind of like a mean girl, but then I guess so was everybody else. And then she threw her boyfriend under the bus. And yeah, that's my full understanding. So we're gonna, oh yeah, and then she dropped a 1,000-page rebuttal. And people fucking read it. That's what's crazy to me. People sat there and read a Lord of the Rings like amount of pages about this VTuber on the internet. That's what's fucking insane to me. Yeah, that's what's fucking insane to me is that people actually fucking read it, bro. Like, yeah, that's wild. That's fucking wild. Omega, what's up, man? I'm doing all right. I've just been momming, but I'm trying to see if I'm coming back for Title Update 4, if I'm able to play and run the game while streaming. But until then, we're just doing random shit. Like today I'm getting caught up on VTuber drama because if I'm coming back to being a VTuber, I should probably know what's going on. Maybe. I don't know. She's still not taking accountability. That's fucking wild, bro. I bet she's still making a shit ton of money though, right? Like sometimes people don't care. Gooner's gonna goon, man. Gooner's gonna fucking goon. But yeah, this is it's a 2-hour video about the initial. This is literally a fucking movie, bro. I might fast forward through some of it. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know if I'm legitimately going to watch all of this. I don't know if I like. As somebody over the age of 30, I just don't know if I have enough fucks to give about it. So yeah, we'll see. A lot has happened. Yeah. A lot's happened in VTubing, man. All right, here. You guys are gonna have to tell me how the audio is. I haven't I haven't streamed in a while, so I don't know what I'm doing. So tell me if you can't hear the video or some shit, or if the video is too loud or some shit. Yeah. Oh, I might need to unmute
that has
it.
caused an industry-wide disaster. This is about
right,
one of the biggest
the audio?
independent VTubers on the planet, and how for years,
Audio good,
while
audio
pretending
bad.
to be her friend, tried to take away opportunities and suppress the success of an even bigger independent VTuber by the name of
literally
Val.
never
This all
watched her,
started
except
when
for
a
maybe
very well-renowned
clips.
artist within the VTuber community
Audio
published
seems fine,
this
sick.
document titled "Terminating My Work with Cinder." This document is such a
Yeah, I've
bombshell
literally never
filled
seen
to
her
the
except for
brim with
clips.
proof that it's currently sitting at almost 3 million views, and it hasn't
But
even been up
as
for 24
a Gooner
hours.
queen, I know that she is
artist
also a
wasn't the
Gooner
only one.
queen.
There are multiple documents with a lot of proof published by multiple people, including
As a certified
Val,
hag
who usually
Gooner.
stays away from drama. And as time goes on, more and more people are coming out with their side of the story. You have to understand, this doesn't just involve Bao. This involves multiple very successful VTubers being backstabbed by that person. And that is
Oh, shit,
barely
yeah, I
scraping the
forgot.
surface
It
here.
wasn't-
Not to mention that
it
her
wasn't-
apology
okay, yeah,
was
we're
one of
learn,
the worst
we're
I've
learn.
seen in recent memory. To say that this is
We're gonna learn,
apocalyptic is an
fam.
understatement. The entire VTuber community is shook to its core. So what the hell is going on?
We'll see how many fucks I give
Well,
after.
You already know the drill. Let's talk about it. So as I mentioned, the VTuber at the center of this controversy is Sinder.
I've also
which
never
didn't
watched
always go
videos
by
by
that
this
name.
dude, but
She
it was
actually
like
started
the
off in
most.
2020 as
It's
a
got
YouTuber by the name of
3.1 million
Tashi.mp3,
views. So like
making a
out of all
variety
of the
different
drama shit.
ASMR RP videos. Like, you're such a good boy for me, ASMR RP. A year
Okay.
later, on June 2021,
Okay, hear me out. Hear me out, guys. Hear me out. I know. I fucking know that like people would probably love that shit from me, would like love me to do that sort of thing. But I cannot fathom personally. And like, I don't want to be a judgmental bitch or anything. I just kind of am. I absolutely cringe the fuck out of my skin for all of the like, cause okay, I have a hot fucking take. Roleplay ASMR is not ASMR. It is just role playing. It is literally just like ERPing. That's not ASMR. Like there's nothing ASMR here. It's literally just ERPing. And I hate that it has become the premier way of doing ASMR on Twitch is by ERPing. And I can't look. For a while, I did that, but I did it all the way. Like for a while, I did that and I did actual porn, sex, like ERP, okay? Like I committed. If you're going to be a fucking gooner, like actually goon, okay? Don't do this like pretend teasing, gooning bullshit. What makes me cringe out of my skin and something that I just personally don't ever see myself doing is like the like flirty like ASMR ERP, just like oh chat, oh my gosh, I'm so flustered, I'm so embarrassed, but I'm also so horny. Like absolutely the fuck not, bro. I can't do it. I can't do it, bro. Like it makes me feel it makes me feel like that. It makes me feel like that, man. It makes me feel like yeah, I can't do it. I can't do it. Like I said, I've done like hardcore ERPing. But there's a really big difference between like sitting there and doing actual porn where you're like walking somebody through a sex scene and just being like, oh, you're such a good boy for mommy. Like, no, I can't fucking do it, bro. I can't fucking do it. It makes me feel so uncomfortable. Like, if you're going to get into like porn shit, you might as well just get all the way into porn shit. And if you're going to do it, like dead ass, just don't do it on Twitch. Like that's my judgmental bitch take is like all of the, and it's not even just VTubers, but all of the content creators that do the baiting. I call it porn baiting. That's the best way to describe it. All of the content creators that do porn baiting, and then they're like, you're such a good boy for mommy. If you want to be extra good, you can check out the links in my bio. I just can't get behind doing that kind of shit on something like Twitch. Again, I have unashamedly done audio porn before, but it was paywalled and it was actually porn. Yeah. So I have never done anything like remotely similar to that on Twitch because I just don't support it. Like I've done some questionable things on Twitch. Like before it got banned, I had a booty model where I was just green screening shit on my ass. I have streamed with a mostly naked model, but I did it because it was funny and I did it right before the bans went through for like certain things. Like everything that I have done that has been questionable was done in satire and not done in order to like porn bait people into supporting a spicy site. Riku, what's up, man? And so I just personally, I am very pro sex work. I'm very pro porn, love porn, watch porn, all of that. However, I think that you don't need to do it on Twitch. I think that you don't need to do that shit on Twitch. Yeah. Anyways, back to how she used to be an ERP ASM artist or whatever.
She would create her Twitch channel under the name of Sinder and would start streaming. During that time, she would build herself a small community of people. But the real turning point for her was a year later on June 2022 when she would officially do her model debut. The whole thing was a resounding success and people fell in love with her model almost instantly. At the time, very few models looked like it.
Yeah,
and
the Christmas tree was wild.
Unique even. Not to mention that it had two very big reasons to keep your attention, I guess. During her debut, she would spend close to an hour showing off her model and the different features that it came with. After her debut,
no lie, her model's fucking
traction.
sick.
People really liked her model and her personality. Nanoless was
I
also
don't think
able
they
to
liked
gain
her
some of this
personality
traction because she was behind the design.
But that's
of
my
her
hot take.
model.
I've
This
never
allowed
watched
to
her, so
start
I guess I can't say
receiving
that.
many commissions from other VTubers who wanted a similar style. And as you can
I
see
guess
from
I can't
how many
really say that if
followers
I
she had
haven't
in
watched her.
2023, she was also able to grow exponentially. Cinder would understand
Personality.
that
I
one
wonder
of
what
the
that
things people
means.
loved about her was the design behind her model. So she stuck with Nano and would keep
Yeah,
commissioning
that
a new
makes
model
sense.
or outfit every few months. Now look, when it comes to VTuber models and VTuber outfits, this costs a lot of
we're
money.
gonna
talking
watch
thousands
a
of dollars. The fact that she was able to do
what
this every
happened. This
few
is just
months
the
already
initial,
showed the
the
resounding success
initial
that she
issue
found
or
in
whatever.
content creation.
We're also
Her
gonna watch a
average view count
TLDR
on
after
Twitch
she
was
dropped her
unstoppable,
1,000-page
reaching
doc. I'm just
thousands
trying to
of
get
concurrent
caught up.
viewers today, ranking her as the 471st
Yeah, I'm just
most
trying to catch
watched
up, man.
content creator on the entirety of Twitch. Part of the reason of that growth was that
I would have
was
thought she
able
would have
to
been
be a
higher, but I
part
guess
of
VTubing in
the
general
VTuber friend
wasn't
group
as
that included
popular.
the biggest indie VTubers on the planet. She was seen as a dear friend, and as far as the others knew, that's how she saw them too. Always collabing together
Also,
and always
hot
being
take,
a part of their
models
tier
can get
list
you
or
a long
whatever other
way,
challenges they
but you
do.
don't
that's
need a
not all.
sick-ass
Her
model to
success
grow.
knew no
Look at
bounds.
people
At the beginning
like
of 2025, she announced
Chibi
that she was a
Doki,
partial
who has a
owner
little
of the
gremlin
company
model,
GamerSubs.
or
This is a
Fillion, who just
huge
has her
energy drink
fucking, and
company
I don't
that
watch these
sponsors
people,
many
but like
of
they're
the top
huge
VTubers in
streamers,
the world.
and
She
they
even
don't
released
have
her
sick
own
ass
shaker with
models.
them, and the art on the shaker, of course, was also made by Nanoless, and it sold out completely.
I'm not saying it doesn't
All this to
help. I'm
tell
just
you
saying
she
that,
was
like,
extremely successful.
not
Guys, she
necessary.
was never in any controversy. As far
Yeah,
as
Baby
anyone was
Sleep is
concerned,
awesome.
She had a very
He's the
warm
best baby
and kind
ever.
personality, as well as a really cool design. So of course,
Yeah, he's
no
the
one
best
could have
baby
ever
ever, man.
expected that it would just take one document to make her entire successful career come crashing down in an instant. But that's exactly what happened. On April 26th, 2025, Nanoless, who at this point had become completely associated with Sinder's brand, had published this tweet saying,
being a mom is
"Hello,
sick, man.
I'm here to share something that has affected me personally and hurt others.
Being
this was
a
very
mom
hard
is
for me,
fucking
but I
sick.
feel like it's necessary. Please do not send hate to anyone on my behalf. This is all I want to say." Linking a Google Doc with the title, "Terminating my work with Sinder." And in the replies, one could see the biggest independent VTubers on the planet fully and unconditionally supporting Nanoless. with this
Lumpy,
document. So
what's
let's
up,
take a
fam?
look. Nano starts off with introduction and notes, saying, "I wanted to share my experience with
What's
Sinder
up?
and
I
Red
hope you're doing well, my
manipulating
dude.
me, using me, and dragging me into drama while sabotaging, slandering, and spreading lies about people I thought were her closest friends." So before we continue, you know who Sinder is, but who the hell is Red? Well, Red, otherwise known as Redacted,
Her
has been
boyfriend,
Sinder's
right?
manager since she started content
I
creation.
feel like-
This has been a well-known fact. If you
I
knew
don't know,
her
man.
or worked
I feel
with
like
her
you
or
might not
whatever,
wanna-
you typically did it through Red. He was somehow involved.
I can't
all the
imagine
time.
ever
So this
asking Mr.
document wasn't just
Sleepy to
talking
be my
about Sinder,
manager.
it was also talking about him.
I can't
Nano
imagine.
continues, "Not only do I no longer wish to work with Sinder, but I want to share what I've
Yeah.
endured over the years and shed light on what she has been doing behind people's backs to protect artists and friends that may be experiencing something similar. I struggled a lot with writing this document and wasn't sure if what I felt and experienced working was real or just burnout, but I think this proves that I was lied to and manipulated over the course of years while working with Sinder. Note, based on working with Redacted and Sinder over the years, that I am sure they speak for each other and there is no reason to believe Red was acting without Sinder's consent and knowledge. Whenever I use they or them, it refers to both of them acting as a team. English not being my first language and the language barrier, I discussed the situation, my feelings and thoughts with native English speakers who helped me put them into words so everything is clear without any misunderstandings
Her
due
first
to lack of
language
English skills.
isn't English?
Note,
Oh, this
any
is-
names that are
this is
censored here
the
were
artist,
censored
not
because the creator in
Sinder.
question
Okay.
did not provide consent to have their name revealed by the time of me posting this document." So this is
Okay,
already a
I got
handful,
confused for
right?
a
It's
second.
alleging many things.
I'm no longer confused.
But thankfully, Nano has a lot of proof in DMs. So she starts off with the section, slandering other creators. "I will start with screenshots showing them speaking ill of other creators and spreading rumors while manipulating me that it's all in our best interest. In addition to spreading ill rumors, they also complain and accuse Bao of giving their editor too much work, resulting in the editor not having any time for new clients, which will be important later on. The screenshots below show them showing their affection and appreciation, immediately followed by spreading rumors and lies to make other clients appear problematic to manipulate any future decisions regarding commissions." So these are fairly recent DMs from January 2025. It starts off with Nano saying, "Of course,
Yeah,
wanted
I
to
don't think
understand
so
it better,
either.
especially if I cancel her for the second time, lol." With Redacted
Ew.
saying, "Well,
Oh,
with
fuck.
blank, she's given a lot of
Ew.
bias and
Ugh.
priority at GS, which is
Dragoon,
gamer
what's up, man?
sometimes over Sinder. And
Welcome
we can't really
back.
confront them about it, and plus, she's gone 3D lately. Bao has been getting on our nerves for a while. She hijacked our
Damn.
YouTube editor a while ago and is constantly picking up artists that we work with. We've
Thanks,
gotten to know her
Pluton.
better being friends with her, but she really rubs us the wrong way with the things she does. We wanted to try and safeguard our most important artist from her since she's already taken our editor. And I don't mean taken like he doesn't work
Damn.
with us anymore. He
Imagine
does, but he has to dedicate
having
time for
that
her
many
now, and
fucks
sometimes
to
that
give,
gets in the way
guys.
of our projects. Also, one of Bao's music
Aren't
video
editors
is the
mostly
one that did the Boss
freelancers?
Rush music video, and we're 99% sure she told him not to do any more with us. But like model art is the most important thing, that's a VTuber's entire image.
I am
we love
catching up
working
on
with you.
2025.
Cinder wouldn't be Cinder without Nano. Okay, but like, let me
Yeah,
tell
can
you
you
the tea
literally
about the music
imagine
video thing. Bao had
being
original
that
songs
fucking
last year that
petty,
had music videos
bro?
by her editor, and the songs flopped. Her editor met us at TwitchCon.
I'm
and was
mad at
saying that
her
he'd love to
because
work with us,
the
practically
independent
jumping through hoops to get
contractor that
something
edits my
planned. We managed to have him
videos
squeeze in the
has
Boss Rush
been
music video between his work
independently
with Bao. He says
contracted
he
to
loved
edit
working
her
on it and is super
videos.
excited to work on the
Oh
next music video
no.
project. The Boss Rush song blows up, and he's credited as the editor. I ask him when he's free to do the next
Oh,
project. All of a sudden, he changes his
no.
mind and is only
Whatever
working
will
with
I
Bao going
do?
forward. No explanation. Nanoless replies with a
Oh, my
panicking emoji,
fucking
and
God.
then Redacted continues, "There's some context missing since we know how Bao is behind the scenes, but basically, we don't have a music video editor now for our next Boss Rush project. We think Bao got pissed that her editor did an original song music video for her friends without her knowing, and it did 100 times better than her original songs last year, that she locked him up so no one else could work with him, and then had him make it
That's
public on Twitter that he
a
was only working
wild
with her going
fucking
forward, like a
bro.
literal announcement tweet."
Bro, that's a wild fucking statement. That's a wild fucking statement. Yeah, we think that one of the biggest independent VTubers is jealous of us, and that's why she stole our editor. We think that she got mad that our group songs are more popular than her independent songs. That's wild, because to the best of my knowledge, I could be wrong, but to the best of my fucking knowledge, I think that Bao was mostly putting out, except for like the stuff that she did. Baby Sleepy likes VTuber music, but except for the stuff that she did with like the bikini bottoms, I think they call themselves. Except for those, I think she was mostly producing independent songs. So to be like, yeah, I think she was mad that my songs did better. They weren't your songs, girl. Those songs did better because you had people with you that also have about the same popularity as you. So it's not you versus her. It's 3 of you versus her. Like, that's an insane fucking take, man. That's an insane fucking take. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy, man. Also, Lumpy, I love that you're on a 3-stream watch streak. And I also love that it probably took you all of 2025 to get there. Because I'm pretty sure I've maybe done 3 streams in 2025. That's actually really fucking funny. Yeah, that's actually really fucking funny. Anyways, we can continue with this, but that's
and now
that's
she's been barking up the
crazy.
tree of
That
one
is
of our
a
live 2D
crazy thing to
animators, so
say.
like and you and a Nano model. Nano replies with, "Yeah, looking for me sounds sus for sure." Redacted says it's so annoying. I don't know.
haven't really
man.
watched
she has
her
a way of
either.
guilt-tripping people to
I've
get
just
her
seen
way.
clips
So
and
these are
stuff.
the DMs from January, and it's already
And you
looking
can't
kind of
avoid
bad.
knowing who
Nano
these people
continues in the
are, even if you
document
don't
saying,
watch them.
Red asked me to cancel on one of their closest friends, Bao, by asking me to cancel my work mid-progress, manipulating me into thinking it is okay since she has many connections.
Bro,
and she'll be
I'm
fine
so
anyway,
happy
I
when
wouldn't
my
feel
friends
guilty
get
about it
models
or
from
worry
my
too
model
much.
mom.
It was
I
and
can't
is upsetting to
imagine
me
being
that Red
pissed
contacted
about
me
that.
specifically to check on
That's
me canceling
crazy.
the model I had
That's
planned
crazy.
with Bao. So
Because
these
I
DMs are
want
from
my
August
model mom
2024 with
to
Red
get
messaging her
money.
saying, "Did
I
you
want her to get
cancel
paid,
models?"
you know?
Nano said, "I did not."
$1
Red
bills,
replies
y'all.
with, "Nano arc delayed
And
to
also, I want my friends to have
2026."
sick-ass
Nano replies
models.
with, "I'm scared to cancel with Bao," to which
Like-
Red says, "You shouldn't be. She has so many connections. She'll find someone super fast. Did you already design her outfit? I remember her showing it to us at WeepCon," to which Nano says, "Yeah, I can give her the design for free as an apology gift." That's crazy. This is so scummy, man.
Yeah, I know
You
that
have to
she wants a
understand,
model from
commissioning
you,
a VTuber model is a
but,
very
like,
lengthy process.
she could totally do it
Everything
from
the
whoever
initial
she
concept
wants,
to the
except
design,
you.
to the rigging, to the testing. If you don't pay
Except
extra,
you.
it might take a year. If you pay double, it might take a few months, but it takes a while
That's
anyway. And finding someone who's both
crazy,
talented
bro.
and has a free schedule is almost impossible. So this idea
That's
of
true.
oh, she
It
has
is
so
hard
many
to find,
connections is
like,
very
good,
insensitive
open
and
model
scummy.
moms.
Nano clearly is nervous and doesn't want to cancel, but Red keeps pressuring
Yeah, that's
her
fucking nuts,
to do
man.
so. Such weirdo behavior. Nano continues in the document in the next section, titled Exclusivity and Blacklisting Other Creators. In the messages below, they mentioned wanting an exclusivity contract, but they didn't want to pay for exclusivity. But rather, when a creator from their blacklist comes asking for a commission, they would guarantee me model work for Cinder only, and if anyone asked me for commissions, they'd commission me instead to
Okay, so let me just put this into perspective with my own friends. So that's like if I went to my model mom, Rinna, and I was like, "Hey, Rinna," and I mean, the only person that's commissioned her out of this list is Gail. But let's say that I was like, my top 3 like VTuber friends are probably Gail, Yura, and Tetra. So imagine me going, "Hey, Rinna, these 3 people, if they come to you for models, I just really would prefer if you turn them away. But because I know that's like a shitty thing for me to ask you to do, just tell me that they want a model from you. Tell them no. And then I will just order a model. I will just order a model to make up for it. You know, why would you need diversity in your portfolio? Why would you want to work on any models that aren't mine? Why would you ever want to broaden your horizons when you can just be Sleepy Planet's personal model maker? Doesn't that sound great? Doesn't that sound super good? Oh, fuck. I did something to the video. Whoopsies. We were probably like, Kirish, like, doesn't that sound sick? You can just make models for me forever. You can just make models for me forever. Yeah, absolutely the fuck not. That's wild, bro.
It's alleging many things.
Oh wait, we were probably like there.
Weirdo behavior.
Yeah, super
Nano
weirdo
continues
behavior,
in the
bro.
document in the next section titled
Super,
exclusivity
yeah,
and
this is where we were.
blacklisting
Okay.
other creators. In the messages below,
Yeah,
they
that's
mentioned
fucking
wanting an
nuts.
exclusivity contract, but they didn't want to pay for
Bro.
exclusivity. But rather, when a creator from their blacklist comes asking for a commission, they would guarantee me model work for Cinder only, and if anyone asked
Also,
me for
thanks for
commissions, they
coming
commission
back,
me
guys.
instead
I haven't
to
streamed
compensate
in
for not working
almost
with
2
other
years,
creators.
and it's
This
nice
felt
to see a lot of
very
you.
strange, given that one of the accusations they made was overworking
It's
their
nice to see a lot
editor,
of
yet
you.
their solution to me working with other creators was for them to essentially overwork me to keep me from working on other projects. The messages below show that their primary concern is that the more non-Cinder models I make, the less valuable my existing models become. It's hard to say how much
Wait
this
a
messed with my
second.
mind as an artist that by working with other people, I'm somehow making my existing models less special. The following screenshot is one of them setting up
That's-
the blacklist.
Such a shitty thing to say, bro. That's such a shitty thing to say. I can't imagine going. Also, you would think that having the top VTubers in the industry, like, let's just assume that, you know, at some point, all of the top VTubers in the industry want a nano model. You would think that that would increase the value because that's more prominent names, that's more views. Like, I do not understand the logic that, like, because I'm pretty sure nanos don't like Iron Mouse models and shit. So, like, I don't understand the logic of being like, yeah, oh gosh, I couldn't possibly have the same model mom as like Iron Mouse. So, if you could just like completely stop making models for them so that your models don't become common trash, that would be great. Right? Right? Like, that's fucking nuts, bro. That's fucking nuts, bro. Yeah, that's what I thought. I know the name.
Saying I'm not allowed
I
to
know-
work with
I know
any
the
new
name,
clients or create
Nanoless.
any new outfits for VTuber 1 specifically, and justifying those things by saying that with each model, my art becomes less unique and special, and therefore Cinder
That's
somehow will become less
crazy,
special. The idea
bro.
that my work as an artist and designer is devalued by working with other people is insane and hurtful.
Yeah,
After realizing what
that's
taking a deal
crazy.
with them would really mean for both my workload and my mental health, I backed out. So this first screenshot is also from January 2025, very recent, and it starts off with Redacted saying, I mean, like, if we wanted to have some kind of model exclusivity, what would you need to make that sustainable for you? Nano replies with, maybe you can share one of your ideas and I can check what I think. Half an hour passes by, Redacted doesn't say anything, Nano says something, and it's, okay, so I got some ideas for this, I guess. Redacted says, I was driving, what are you thinking? Nano says, okay, so I
Jesus.
asked help from my friends, they don't know it's you, so don't worry. So a monthly fee, calculating my monthly earnings. Also, how long would this be? And if this counts for
How
models
much
I
do we
already
think
worked
that fee
on,
would
Redacted
be?
replies with,
Like,
well, I think the main things we're looking
$5,000 a
for are
month?
for you to not take any
$10,000
brand new
a
model
month?
clients and to not make any new models outfits for blank again. So this is them deliberately
Like-
targeting one VTuber in particular. Anyway, he continues, you'd still be able to work on
And that VTuber
models
was
/
Bao or
outfits with all of your
Shylily,
other
right?
existing babies, and your artwork commissions wouldn't be affected. One of our concerns is that more nano babies
Not
means
any
nano
new
models don't have the
babies
same value
at
anymore. And by the way,
all.
guys, when he says nano babies, it's a VTuber term, so
Bro.
typically people who will make your model are called Papa or Mama, and the VTuber commissioning them
Bro.
is their baby. Okay, yeah, I know it's weird if you're not into VTubers. Okay, you don't have
That's
to tell me,
fucking
but now you
wild.
know.
I have-
Anyway, he continues.
I
and
have
second
sent
is
so
that there's
many
a few
people to my
that we
model
just
mom.
would rather not be able to have a model from you. Maybe not any new babies
Yeah,
at
I've
all. The
literally
reason
sent
why
so
I
many
brought
people
this
to my
up
model
at all
mom.
is
I
that
can't
there's been a
imagine
lot of
approaching my
bias
model
with
mom and
another
being
one of our partners
and
who's
like
certain
pitching
creators,
this
and
shit.
we'd rather these creators not have what makes Cinder unique, which is
That's
your
crazy.
artwork, just drama. An hour later, Redacted comes up with an idea, saying, what about we can pay blank for you, and you don't have to discount it from the next payment, and we'll continue giving you lots of model work, I think around 4 this year right now, but you don't work with blank, blank, or blank at all again, models
Jesus.
or art. I don't think you've ever done anything with blank or blank before. We also have another gamer subs label for you too.
How many people
AFK.
did
This
she
is
want to fuck
absolutely
over?
wild.
Jesus.
Look how many people they're blacklisting over here, okay? Nanoless replies with,
That's
is there any
crazy.
way to add a little bit more since blank still asks for art every now and then? Redacted says, we could do it like when blank asks for art, you tell her no, and then tell us so that we buy another art piece. Like, so you still get a job from it. Now, I'm sure you're wondering who these
crazy,
censored
dude.
creators in the message are. Well, now we know. This is the full message, with Redacted saying, you don't work with bow, cotton, or blank at all again, models or art. I don't think you've ever done anything with bow or cotton before.
Why would they bring out these two and then not the third one, bro? Like, why is only the third one redacted? Because his name, Redacted. That's crazy, dude.
These are,
That's
again,
crazy,
very
dude.
big independent VTubers that called Sinder a friend. This is one of the most shameless things I've ever seen. Gatekeeping art from friends and also gaslighting a very talented artist. It's wild. Now, bear in mind, there's a VTuber that's still censored here, and throughout the document, you'll see a person of interest called VTuber1. Those got revealed later, and we'll talk about them in this video, so don't
sick.
worry.
Okay,
Nano
so
then
it'll
continues in the document,
be
saying,
later.
another example of speaking ill of other creators right after they saw I was working with Shylily, trying to once again make the idea of working with other clients seem like I am setting myself up with problematic people who will do me no good in the long run to get me to
that's
reconsider
crazy.
working with them. They also continuously kept asking about my other clients' plans, which for them made the antenna go up and immediately went into slandering Lily. And when Nano says Lily, she of course means Shylily.
Weren't they, like,
consistently try to
friends?
reassure me that despite their best efforts, they just
Like-
happen to keep trying to bring drama in as reasons for me to go exclusive, and that working only with Cinder is them trying to look out for
they
me.
weren't.
So this is extremely recent, like a couple weeks ago, right? In mid-April 2025, with Redacted saying, hey Nano, do you have more plans with Lily besides just the model, like outfits or merch or anything? Nano says, been just the model so far, to which Redacted says, okay, her asking you for a model recently just made the antenna go
That's
up. She's been
crazy.
acting weird towards Cinder lately, and we don't know if something's going on. Nano says, oh, that's weird. Redacted says, ever since after V-Card launched, which is a VTuber trading card game
yeah, their
that
trading card
Shylily helped
thing.
launch. Nanoless says, but what do you consider weird? And Redacted
The
says,
Cinder
lately
design?
dipping out of collabs they were both a part of.
I think
at
her
the last
design's
minute
kind of
and now
sick,
ghosting
like
her
the
messages.
fire
Cinder's raided
in the
her a
ears
couple
and
times
shit.
on Twitch in the past week, and Lily won't acknowledge Cinder by name. Just like pretty weird, petty stuff. I don't know. Nano says that's super weird since they both share the same store, lol, referring to gamer subs that they both have partial
When
ownership
they all
in.
have a
And
card,
Redacted
that'd be
says,
sick.
around V-Card's launch, they were
Probably
talking
not,
and
though,
collaborating, and I don't know
'cause
what happened.
let's
But
be
her
so
asking you for a
fucking
model
real.
after that
I had to
was
take
just
2
weird,
years
even
off.
though
I've
she
shot
said she
myself
doesn't
in the
plan on
foot.
getting a new
I'm
model anytime
chopped.
soon. I don't know.
I'm
Hate
fucking
that we keep
chopped,
bringing you
man.
into drama, to which Nano says, yeah, I thought it was quite early to go for a new model. Redacted says, feels like we're gonna have to compete with Lily if she's ghosting Cinder and wants the same model mama. So of course, I don't have to tell you, Shylily is also one of the biggest
I did have
independent
IRL
VTubers
commitments.
on
I
the
still
planet,
do,
and
but
she is someone
I'm
that
gonna try to make it
considered
work
Cinder
and
a
stream
friend.
occasionally.
Now we have proof that she was backstabbing
Like I said,
her,
mostly
too.
mornings
Nano
when Mr.
continues in
Sleepy
the
can take
document,
Baby
the idea that they
Sleepy.
need to stay informed and gauge the competition is extremely upsetting and toxic to me. The competition they're
But
referring
I'm
to
gonna be
are
so
people I
fucking
thought
real.
they
Taking
considered
time off
friends
like
who
that,
always
I don't
helped,
think that
supported,
I'm-
and platformed Cinder. When I
I don't
pushed
know that
back,
I'm
the
ever
immediate
going to
response
get
was
back
blaming the other
to
creators and implying that they
the,
initiated it by trying to work with me, and that somehow justified
the
their actions.
state
They
at
imply
which I
Shylily
left.
ignored Cinder when she spent over a minute thanking the raid, which you can see in this clip. Let's watch it together.
Ignore what you just saw.
Oh, what game is this?
Ooh! Oh my goodness! Hello!
Wait,
Oh! Hello, Raiders!
wait, she's
Hello,
pissed
hello.
because she didn't say her
I'm
name.
playing Berserker. The last
Oh,
it's
Berserker.
called the last Berserker Kazan. We were sponsored, but the game was really fun, so I just kept playing for like a million more hours.
Really?
Hello, hello,
she's
everyone! Hello, hello!
she's dead ass just upset that she didn't say her name.
the pyropop raid.
That's
Hello, pyropups.
what she's
What did you
mad
guys do?
about.
I am low-key addicted.
That's so fucking petty,
I
bro.
usually okay. So most people know me for
I'm
my
too
gacha
old for
addiction,
this shit.
but
I'm too old for
Right,
this
so I
shit.
think that's
Aren't
enough
these
proof
people
to
too
see
old
that
for
she
this shit?
acknowledged the raid and did her best to interact with her and her community.
Yeah,
when they
like,
raided
aren't
her.
these people
so this
too old
idea
for
that
this
she
shit?
ignored her completely is totally false. And I think it was just them hoping that Nano would be too lazy to actually find the stream itself and see Shylily's real reaction to the raid. Again, Very scummy behavior. On that same day, Redacted and Nano kept DMing each other, with Redacted saying, "Real, is it just Cinder and Blank you've been doing continuous model outfits for? We'll have the demon update list plus final arcade reference for you as soon as it's finished," to which Nano says, "I think it is. I have an outfit for Blank planned too. As for Blank, got nothing for now, but she always comes up with something." Redacted asks, "Do you know who's rigging Shylily's model?" Nanoless says, "Gonna be Blank," to which she replies with, "Thanks, Nano.
Christ.
Sorry for all the questions. Just gotta stay informed, especially when it comes to our top artist. Never a break." Nano says, "Don't worry, just don't stress too much with the side things. It's bad for balding." Redacted replies with, "I'm gonna go bald now. I'll keep you in the loop about anything else going on with that." Nano replies with, "The balding?" And Redacted says, "No, you fool, just stupid drama. Gotta stay competitive.
I am alive. What's up,
also,
man?
Your profile picture looks like a guy with a mustache." And Nano says,
I had a baby.
Too far on the competitiveness. It can get bad. Gotta chill sometimes." To which Redacted
I had a real
says,
human
"Hey, it's not
child.
us. We aren't the ones getting a model from the artist of the other Gamersubs owner out of the blue and ghosting them and refusing to acknowledge them." You know, this is made weirder by the fact that both
human
Shylily
child
and Cinder are co-owners of a company, and this is how Cinder is treating her. Her competitiveness.
Yeah,
knew
I've been
no
basically
bounds.
gone for
She
like
would
2
probably
years.
push a toddler off a bridge if it meant getting 100 extra viewers on Twitch. Okay. Nano
I had a
continues
really
in the
rough
document
pregnancy,
saying,
so
"Below,
I
wanted
was
to push
I was
back
gone
and
during
make clear I
pregnancy,
was
and then my
uncomfortable
baby's
on
been
being
alive
dragged into
for
drama, and they responded by bringing up more drama
little
and
over
baseless
12 months
claims,
now.
all while trying to guilt trip me. It is ironic and crazy to me that I mentioned not wanting to be dragged into personal issues, only for them to
here
on
we are.
multiple occasions mention other people's alleged drama." So this is where things get real, because it's not Redacted.
Here
doing
we
the
are. I'm
talking,
learning about
it's
all of
Cinder
the
directed. The DMs were from
shit that
February
happened while I
11th,
was gone.
2025, so just a couple months ago, and it starts with Nano saying,
Go figure,
"Cinder,
people fucking
just wanted
suck.
to say sorry for stepping back on the exclusivity deal. Wanted to apologize
Go
personally to you
fucking
since I've
figure.
only talked about that with Red, but I just don't want to be dragged on any personal
you guys
issues
can
like
pay
that.
for a
After
baby
all,
model.
Blank is still a client, and it makes me anxious and kind of destroys my mental to do this kind of
I
deal.
am
Just wanted to let you know
not
I still
in a
love working with you
position
in Red, but I'll understand
to,
if things doesn't work out because of Blank. I just love my clients. That's
pay for
all."
shit
3
right
hours
now.
later,
Babies
Cinder
are
replies with,
expensive.
"I get it, Nano, and it was unfair to push this on you, but it's just really confusing going back and forth about it. I just get compared to her a lot, even still today, and it's
Wait,
like I'm
who does
always
she get
living in someone's
compared to?
shadow, which is one reason why Redacted asked about not making any more models for her. And when you said, 'I understand if things don't work out,' it makes me feel like you're okay with not working with me anymore, which hurts so much after all this time. I really appreciate you, Nano, and it's your decision who you ultimately work with, but this is how I've been feeling." Nano continues in the DMs, replying with, "I don't really see the point of keeping thinking about being compared to Blank. You're so much bigger already. You've done so much more. But I would never give Blank any priority over you. Also, there's not even any model for her being discussed. I just want to sleep clear-minded. Also, I'm fine not doing her models.
This is the
but at least
person that they haven't
Gamersub's
named
art
yet,
stuff
right?
would be fine with me. I don't want to be 100% an asshole to her. That's all." And Cinder replies with, "It's not me, but other people's opinions of us. And I'm just trying to not get involved in any drama that other people want to talk about comparing us. But I understand where you're coming from, Nano. There's no hard feelings." And Nano says, "Sorry about this. My mental is just a bit weak." Cinder says, "Same, girl." To which Nano says, "I'm sorry for bringing this to you." Cinder then replies with, "I want you to get that money. The whole situation is just kind of sucky. I want to just get along." And then Nano specifies that the phrase that she said, "I understand if things didn't work out," meant that it would be mostly if you hate me for not burning Blank down from my list. To which Cinder reassures her, saying, "I would never hate you." And Nano said, "Thank you, and same, I'm just an insecure bitch." Cinder ends this conversation by saying, "I love everything we've done together and I want to keep doing more. People saying dumb shit online just makes me stressed." Nano continues in the document, saying, justifying their behavior by stating they are simply looking out for me when none of this has anything to do with me to begin with, and manipulating me into being grateful for earning well thanks to them despite the loss of work from long-time returning clients and new clients. As you can see, this is already a handful, and we're barely halfway through this document. It gets worse. The next section in the document is called Concerning My Work and Models as a Team. Another example of going after other clients of mine from before, claiming that having more clients alongside them makes my work less special, with the recurrence of "it's just business." Manipulating me into believing that working with her is special for multiple reasons, and that I risk losing that special something as a client if I prefer to work with others. No acknowledgement of my reasoning and need of working with other clients due to the nature of my work, solely focused on their issues. I would also like to note again that this screenshot is one of
much
many
smaller than
occasions
her,
that
though?
indicate that Red speaks on Cinder's behalf. I was originally concerned with everything
I know they
going
have
through
similar
Red, but it may not have
designs,
been 100% of
but why
Cinder's
was she
feelings
so
and wants.
fucking
I messaged her
pressed?
about it to make sure that he spoke on her behalf and confirmed with both of them this was the case.
That's what I want to know.
This is it. Some people read only the first few pages of the document and concluded, wait, this isn't Cinder, this is just her manager. He's probably speaking on her behalf and she has no idea.
Blew her
Well,
up
this
good.
right here confirms,
Hopefully
no,
she's
not
like
only was
deserving
she
of that.
aware of what he was saying, but she fully agreed with everything everything her manager said. These DMs date back to November of 2023, and it's Nano starting off the conversation saying, "Hey Cinder, hope you're doing okay. I talked with Red, and I believe he talked to you already, and I thought it would be best if I just check here personally. Actually, I wanted to know better your thoughts because Red tried to talk to me and I think I misunderstood things." To which Cinder says, "I'm doing good. What's up, Nano?" Nano then says, "Oh, it's mostly about this." And it's a screen cap of what Red said in their DM saying, "Not to discredit any of your work because everything you work on is the top of the line incredible, but when everyone's a Nano baby, it feels less special to be one, if that makes sense."
That's such a wild thing to say, bro.
From gamer subs lately too. To which Nano says, "I thought on canceling some models because of it, but then I realized it's not really fair to me." To which Cinder replies with, "I understand what he means, but at the end of the day, it's just business."
Just
what is this, the
business.
mafia pointing a gun at your head and before shooting you saying it's nothing personal, it's just business? What the hell is this? She then continues, "Of
Yeah,
course
that's
we love
fucking
working
nuts,
with you and want to
dude.
keep working together, but if you prefer
You know, maybe I'm
going
gonna
to
start doing that for anybody who has black and pink
and not
and
because you don't
horns.
like me. Being
What do
one
you
of your
guys
very
think?
first model babies was so amazing. I was happy
What do you
to
guys
be able
think?
to
Should
find someone
I
to
should I
help
just
you
start
with life to be
targeting
cutting to improve
every
your
single
skills?
streamer
And I think that's a big part of
that's
why I
black
love the
and pink with
1.0
horns?
model.
Yeah.
I then started asking you for them. I can have Redacted
They're
send you
just
a
sleepy
list of our plans for the
copycats,
future and
clearly.
estimated due dates, so just let us know what you actually want to work on. That way I
Clearly.
have time to look for someone else if you don't have time for my projects or don't want to do them. It feels special to only have your model art for all my outfits, but just let me
But
know
you
if you
didn't
don't
really-
have time
yeah,
for
that's
me to
crazy,
be an
dude.
exclusive Nano art baby anymore." Nano then replies with, "It's no personal reason. I would never do something like this to you or anyone, but yeah, it's important for my job to reach far, and I like working on different projects and people. I never
Good for
ever
her.
said I don't
Stand
want to
on
work with
fucking
you
business,
anymore.
girl.
I told Red that even though I have my other works, I will always have a way to get
Stand
you a
on
priority
fucking
spot
business,
when
girl.
possible. You'll always be my special baby." Cinder replies with, "I also think it's important for you to work on projects that you're excited about, so I'll go through my plans with Red and send you our ideas to see if it's possible with your schedule. I know he can be a little pushy sometimes, but it's because he's just doing business for me to grow too, and he absolutely loves your work just as much as I do." Nano says it's okay. "We'll update you guys ASAP," and Cinder says sounds good to me. Nano continues in the document saying, "Red tries to make it look like they never meant for it to appear like they wanted me to be exclusive by framing it as something
Did
I
he?
wanted,
Because
while
that's
immediately
not how it
doubling down on the fact
views
that
to me,
working with
man.
more people makes my work less special
It
and
is
no
very
longer
clear.
unique, as if every design is just a Cinder clone." These are DMs also from November 2023 between Nano and Redacted, in which Nano says, "So it's about working with Cinder. My friends told me it's a bit unfair for me to stop working other models, so I do more for Cinder, which I agree with them. I'm a free artist and I should do whatever I want
Yeah,
to do.
you
I
should
don't want
do
to
whatever
take
you want,
sides on any
girl.
drama or situations. I still will always have a way to have open slots for Cinder, but I won't be having her as my only customer." Redacted says, "I agree. You're a free artist and you should do what you want, but I was under the impression that taking on more Cinder work is what you wanted to do.
Yeah,
didn't
I
think
mean,
it was like we were
to
making
be
you do
fair,
that."
most
Nano then says,
VTubers
"Guess
are
we
just
got a
regular-ass people that
misunderstanding on
blew
both
up.
sides? It's more about
So I
this."
understand
And she
not having a
replies with the
handle
initial
on
message from
PR and
Redacted,
shit,
in which she was like, "Yeah, not
because
to discredit
a
your
lot
work
of it's
or
probably
anything, but whenever
unexpected,
you work
right?
with other clients, it makes your work less special, right?" To which
I've
Redacted
done
says,
and said
"Oh, I
so
see.
many things that
I
could
mean,
get me
what I said is
canceled if
still
I ever
true
blew up.
about how we feel.
I don't
but
know how I
wasn't
deal with
saying
that,
you
man.
have to only do Cinder work from now on." Uh-huh.
I don't know how the fuck I
Bro,
deal
what
with
the hell
that.
is this, man? He then continues, "That's with anything, though, not just your work. If you have something special and then everyone wants and gets
Zip.
that thing, it
Hello.
makes it less special. I'm sorry you were under the impression we
Yeah,
were trying to make
naked
you only
sleepy
do work
is a
for
thing.
us. I
I've
will keep
definitely
things
said
more
some
business
questionable
talk and
ass
less
things.
emotional. Lol.
I
Just
accidentally
let me know
streamed
how this will
porn
affect your
once.
schedule so I can tell Cinder after. Sorry for the stress, Nano." To which she
Yeah,
replies
it's
with,
a lot
"But
of
every
stuff
single
that could
model
get me
I do is
canceled.
unique and I make them special in their way. It's not like I'm selling Cinder to everyone. Please
Yeah.
don't feel this way." Redacted then says,
I
"No,
thought
know.
I
You
deleted
pour
all the
your
porn
heart
off
and
of
soul into
my
your models, and they're
Tumblr
all
before I
incredible."
had to
And Nano
do
ends this conversation with,
expose
"I'm
my
sorry I
Tumblr.
made you both feel this way too."
I did
So
not.
textbook manipulation, textbook
I missed one
gaslighting,
thing.
textbook backstabbing. I mean, is there anything here that doesn't scream manipulation to you? Reading through these DMs, I feel very sorry for Nano. She clearly loves to make art and is so conflicted here.
Oh, yeah, when we were talking about fucking Tentacle Daddy, we actually both did it.
Her gut feeling tells her something's
I don't
wrong.
think we
These
got
are
to stream
very
that part, but we
unreasonable
both did it.
demands.
Gail and I both did
Anyway,
it.
the document continues. It's simply business. Normalizing their behavior once again by stating that it's simply business to sabotage other VTubers' careers and not work with them and focus on Cinder
All right.
instead. This is
Give
again
me
from November
a second, my
2023.
dudes. I need something to drink, and ads are about to hit. So I'm going to put you guys on a BRB, and I'm going to grab a Diet Coke. Oh shit, did I actually stream that? I did not remember streaming that. I'll give the video a second before I start it since everybody's on ads. Yeah, for some reason I thought that didn't get caught on stream. But I guess we were caught in 4K. Look, I have no regrets, okay? No regrets. I would fuck the Emperor again. So, yeah. I'm gonna eat a granola bar while we wait for ads to be over. You guys get some good ASMR. Huh. It's crazy that they're still working together. But I imagine they probably have to be if they're still together, right? Like, how do you truly fire the guy who's dicking you down every night? For real. Are they married? I thought it was just her boyfriend. That's crazy. Because marriage is very different from regular relationships. Very different. All right, I think ads are over, so here we go.
In which Redacted says, "It's okay, Nano. You're just making a living and making a name for yourself, and I can't blame you for accepting work from other big names in the industry and having very desirable talent. If you end up filling your model schedule again like it was, let me know. We'll have to replan some things depending on that." Nano replies with, "Thank you for understanding my side. We're all trying to have our names somewhere. Just don't take this personal or anything. I still love working with you guys, and again apologize for the trouble on your plans. I'll still revisit my list and see what I got." He then says, "Business is business. If you want to go through the projects we talked about and let me know which ones you'd want to do too." Later on, Redacted replies to another message from Nano in which he says, "I don't want to take any sides on any drama or situation," and he says, "Is this about blank model Nano?" Nano says, "Yeah, I want to take it, but I don't want to disrespect Sinder. I just want to do pretty models, no hurt feelings." Redacted then says, "Business is business," to which Nano replies with a crying emoji. Redacted replies with, "Nano, you're a freelance artist and blank is a longtime client, so it makes sense to continue doing work for her. I understand the logistics of it. At the end of the day, you need to do what's best for you." Nano replies with, "I really appreciate for understanding my side. I do understand your side too, but sadly it's something between you two, not me. I shouldn't get involved in this fight. I just go art, brr."
Okay, real talk. Because Rico's not wrong. Presumably, these are all full-ass adults, right? Presumably, these are all fully grown people. Fully germinated, right? And I understand that when you're being gaslit to high hell, that it can be difficult to know what the right decision is. I do. Like, I get that. And also, I don't know, just have some fucking balls. Like, just have some fucking balls. Just nut the fuck up. Like, stand up for yourself. Like, don't get pushed around, bro. Like, I don't understand. I do not understand, man. Like, just say no. It very much seems like she wants to say no, but she's not outright saying it. And so this asshole is like continuing to push on it because she hasn't set up that fucking boundary. Set your boundaries. You guys are not friends. Like, as shitty as this sounds, you are not friends. You have a business relationship. Like, I love my model mom. I would say that we are fairly close. I send a lot of people her way. I think that she's talented. We are friendly. We are not friends. There is a difference. There is a difference. Like, okay, you guys aren't going to want to hear this, but this is also fucking true. So, like, depending on who you are in chat right now, I am either friends with you or friendly with you. And there is a difference. And there are people on both sides of that are currently in my chat. And I think that it's okay to draw that line. Like, for me, the difference between being friendly and being friends, at least, is like, for a handful of you, and I enjoy you guys as much as I can. We've had a lot of really good times together. And I love it when you guys come play games with me and we have a good time. But for me, I guess the line that I draw between like being friendly and being friends is like, some of you guys, I have gone out of my way to seek out spending time together and playing games together. That would make us friends. Others of you, when you show up in chat and I'm doing community games, I'm doing open lobbies, I am happy to see you there. I am glad that you're there. I have a lot of fun playing games with you while I run open lobbies, but I don't actively seek out gaming time with you. That makes us friendly. And I think that's okay. And I think that more people need to be more transparent about that. Like, I am an incredibly parasocial streamer. I started out streaming because I wanted friends to play games with. When I started streaming, I did probably 100 collabs in my first year of streaming. Okay? Like, I have done a lot of things. I've made a lot of friends. And still, I do uphold and believe in boundaries and the difference between being friends and being friendly. And I think that's fine. And I think more people just need to be upfront about it. So like these two need to understand that like Nanoless as the artist and Sinder as the client, that is a like business relationship. But they're talking, the way that they talk to each other is not as if they're in a business relationship. Greasy, hey, what's up, man? It's good to see you. Yeah, the way that they talk to each other is not a business. So like for reference, let me look at like the only thing that I have really is like an example of how I talk to my mom, how I talk to my model mom, which our last few messages, okay? And I would say my model mom and I are pretty close. Our last few messages, dead ass, were her telling me that she's got a free model commission slot, and she does that because she knows that I will always pimp her out. There's probably a better way to say that I will always send people to her if I can. So she let me know that. And I let her know that I would let my friends know, but that because I have baby Sleepy, that I'm not really looking for anything myself, but that I would like tell people about it and show off what she's done for me and really just like recommend her. So that was the second to last message. And then the message I sent after that was, hey, I've got a friend who needs rigging. She doesn't need art, but she's looking for a rig. Is your spot still open? And for anybody interested, by the way, oh, wait, that was in October. She's probably not free anymore. It's December. But yeah, no, I always recommend people from my model mom. For reference, She does art and rig. Both my art and my rigging was, I believe her pricing is like $800 total. So here, let's do some Sleepy Mama promo. So for the low price of $800, okay, chat, for the low price of $800, I got all of this, okay? I got here. We'll get close. For the low price, of $800, chat, we got all of this, guys. We got scary sleepy. We got all of this, guys, for the low price of $800. Oh yeah, let me get real close for this one. It's a classic. This is a classic sleepy. Yeah, for the tiers, for the low price of $800. Yeah, I'm a very loyal person. So I truly, and like, you never really know if this is true, I guess, until it happens. But like, in my mind, even if I somehow were to be in a position where I was more financially able to commit to a more expensive model, in my mind, just again, as somebody who is like a very loyal person, my thought is that the bulk of my growing, the bulk of how I've grown as a VTuber was the very first model she got me, the original Nightmare Sleepy. I actually don't even have her on my PC anymore. I've just got her clouded somewhere because this model is just such an improvement from her, but I will never get rid of her. She is safe in the cloud. But my thought process is like, okay, well, I'm pretty sure when I got the initial model, I was maybe at like 1,000 followers, maybe. And now I'm at over 3,000. And while that's not a very significant number, if I were to get to 10,000, 20,000, 50,000 followers, if I was to suddenly blow up and have 100, 200, 500 people watching me, because of how I am and who I am, I can't imagine being like, damn, I grew all of this way off the back of Rinna's model. But now that I have all of these views, all of these follows, I'm going to go get, since we're watching this, I'm going to go get a Nanoless model. Like, I just personally cannot see a world where I would build at that point, like a career off the back of my artist and then turn around and say, oh, thank you for helping me get this far. But now that I'm like somewhat known, I'm just going to go with a bigger model artist. But thanks. Like I cannot fucking fathom doing that. My hope has always been, in all honesty, that I can help her, because let's be fucking for real. She underprices herself, and her prices have raised since I started working with her, and I'm very proud of her for that. I am. Her quality of model has also greatly improved since then, and like, realistically speaking, her models need to be priced at least twice what they're priced right now. And that's not me saying that because I want to pay that. I would have to wait a very long time to pay into something like that. But like, considering the amount of time it takes her to do this, considering the level at which both her art and her rigging are at now, these models are worth $1,500, $2,000. They are worth a lot more than she charges. And so if I can grow and more people can see my model and more people can commission my model mom, and because of that, she can then afford to raise prices. Like, that's all that I want for her. I want her to be able to sustain a life as an artist, to be able to take care of herself, take care of her family, be financially stable. And so I personally just can't, I don't know, I can't imagine being like this towards my artist. I can't imagine trying to take away work from my artist. I can't imagine trying to degrade them and say that their art is less special the more models they do that aren't my model. Like, that's actually fucking like narcissistic. That's disgusting. I can't with it. I cannot with it. But you know, that's just me, man. That's just me, man. Let's continue this shit show because this is a long ass video and we're only 30 minutes through it. Fuck.
Redacted then says, right, I know, I just didn't think our conversation sounded like I was trying to make you not work with her on a model, like blank specifically. Nano then says, maybe I just considered the situation too much. My mistake for thinking this way. And he says, it's okay. Then Nano says, but are we good for real?
Bro. I'm not trying to say that I don't want you to work with her. I'm just saying that I don't want you to work with her. What the actual fuck, man? Bro.
This feels like a weird breakup. I'm stressing. And Redacted says, me and you are good, but I still have to tell all this to Sinder. It'll be fine. Don't worry. I think she's still sleeping. So it's just a constant back and forth. It's very exhausting to talk to people like this because in 2023, they made her think that by taking on other clients, her art meant less. Then when she confronted them about it, they were like, we never meant that. We just want you to work on Cinder's models. Do what you got to do. But then we saw very recent DMs from 2025 as well as 2024 in which they were telling her, do not work on models for these people in particular. This just keeps getting worse and worse. Nano continues the document saying, damage control, making sure none of this reaches the other VTubers and is all kept hush-hush, while also providing proof that they know what they do is ill-intended and should not get out, as it would cause issues for Cinder's career to be painted in this light. Note that the uncalled shot at VTuber1 is even spoilered, a hidden message in Discord, so it wouldn't accidentally be leaked. This was from the same day in November 2023. A lot was revealed that day. Nano says, I try to be transparent as much as possible. I think it's more fair for both sides this way. And Redacted says, you didn't tell Blank you canceled because of Cinder, did you? And Nano said, no, I told all of them it was health issues. I would never blame anyone besides Blank. Redacted then says, lol, we never want to make you feel like we're making you or forcing you to work on / not work on something, especially if it's something you want
except
to
for when we literally
our conversation the other day doesn't mean to convince you of only doing Cinder work. Again, sorry that it sounded to you like I was telling you to do only Cinder work. I'll message you later. So ever since 2023, Redacted and Cinder have been obsessed with just this one VTuber, always tracking what she's doing and not wanting her to hire Nanoless no matter what. Here you can see Redacted saying, well, let's see if Blank wants a nano model or not and hope Blank finds someone else. Nano continues in the document saying the constant obsession with VTuber1 and claiming that she's asking for it by causing this unspoken competition, which is coming from absolutely no other source than Cinder herself. So Cinder was convinced this VTuber was competing with her directly and wanted to steal her thunder. It's censored in this document, but we'll later find out who this is because she also made her own document. Yeah, we're going to be here for a while. Nano's document ends with around 3 or 4 screenshots showing this absolute obsession with this VTuber and the unhinged thought process that Redacted and Cinder had towards them. This is Redacted saying, I think it's more like wanting her to recognize Cinder even though it literally doesn't matter. I feel like there's this unspoken competition between them, like they need to one-up each other because Blank can't get along. But I also understand her point of view. The new VTuber who people say looks, sounds, and acts like you becomes just as successful as you in a year. If she did recognize Cinder as an equal or a friend, then I would be like she's endorsing her copy. Or like I've seen some people say her replacement. They share a lot of the same audience too. Like at the end of the day, it isn't just about how much we make compared to her. We just want her to recognize, hey, Cinder is a big VTuber too. She got there on her own merits, just like you did, get along. And the marketing potential and money they could make if they teamed up. I just know anything we do, she's watching and will take from or try to outdo. Oh my god, you know the spinning figure we have on stream? Blank's figure was announced on Wednesday, no spinning figure. Cinder debut Saturday, everyone hears about it. Figure announced, spinning figure on screen with exclamation mark figure right next to it. Blank streams yesterday, first stream since Cinder debut, guess what? Spinning figure with exclamation mark figure next to it.
Oh
now,
no.
This might seem confusing, but we were just talking about VTuber
forbid
1. But there was another
that
VTuber
popular
that both Cinder and
VTubers
Redacted were
do
obsessed
similar
with,
things
Cerberus
because it's
pup
popular.
VTuber. Here we have Redacted talking about her mid-conversation,
Jesus
accusing
fucking
her
Christ.
of copying Cinder every chance she got, saying, then like a month later unfollowed her on Twitter and started taking her ideas, Cinder's ideas, like the flames, and now she's basically rebranded to more of a fire Cerberus, using fire emojis all the time, shaking my head. Never did that before. It's funny because she used to call herself a hellhound, but stopped when Cinder grew past her and now uses Cerberus, or Cerber Pup, or whatever her lore says she is, I don't know. Nano
Jesus
says the
fucking
unfollow
Christ,
is
bro.
weird, and then Redacted says, yeah. So it's like, there was also unprovoked tweets from her like, I didn't copy anyone else for my design is all me, this is who I am. Like, huh? Who are you saying that to? Then he continues and says, oh, lol, on random Cinder clips on YouTube, there was one dedicated blank fan or someone she knew, I don't know, that would comment on these clips saying like, when are you going to clip blank? Only on Cinder clips. Nano ends this
What the
document by
fuck?
saying, I'd like to highlight the irony of expecting to be entitled to recognition for her own efforts and size when her own active efforts are tied to sabotaging this very same VTuber. Also feeling entitled and insisting to be recognized by someone else is odd. Thanks for taking the time to read through everything. I hope everything makes sense and everyone who has been hurt, manipulated, or sabotaged by her will find closure. So look, this whole idea of, oh my god, this VTuber's copying me or whatever, this isn't the first time we see it in the VTuber space. It happens more often than anyone would like to. But Cinder, as well as Redacted, were taking it to a whole other level. They weren't just concerned by someone copying them, they were obsessed. And they were dragging their artist who has been loyal to them into this mess as well. It was a very, very bad look. Some people were analyzing some of the DMs between Cinder and Nano, and this part right here, where she says, being one of your very first model babies was so amazing, I was happy to be able to find someone to help you with Live 2D cutting to improve your skills, and I think that's a big part why everyone loved the 1.0 model and then started asking you for them. Made people think like, wait, what are you saying here? Are you saying your skill is thanks to me because I found someone that can help your Live 2D cutting? And the reason everyone even started to look for you is because they loved my model first? It seemed like Cinder believed Nanoless owed her for the success, that she would be a nobody if it wasn't for Cinder. What a very weird attitude to have. Additionally, here's a screenshot of all the models that Nanoless worked on. Oh my god, I have to censor that. Dude, her boobs are literally out of the outfit.
Jesus
Anyway,
Christ.
as you can see, they don't look the same at all. They're all
They
very
do not look the
special and all
same.
have their unique traits. This idea that the more models she worked on would devalue her work as an artist was a ridiculous claim to make. And everyone can see that now. But speaking of everyone, what about her close friends that she backstabbed so
Was an experience to
shamelessly?
watch
What was
live?
their
I missed
reaction?
all of
Well,
this shit,
Cottontail
Cruel.
was one of the people mentioned in that document that both Cinder and her manager were trying to keep away from Nano, even though they were friends, in which Redacted says, you don't work with Bao, Cotton, or Blank at all again. She tweeted this, saying, this made my stomach drop to read. It makes me very sad to have things come out like this, sending Nano and Bao so much love. I mean, I can't even imagine thinking that someone is my friend and they're out there in DMs getting their manager to gatekeep an artist from me because they think I'm a threat to them. But of course, Cottontail was far from being the only one affected.
Yeah, that's
here.
crazy.
5 minutes after Nano released her document, Bao quote tweeted and said, I was very hurt by someone I thought was a friend, with her own Google document. Now look, many
Damn.
friends of Cinder were involved in this, but Bao was more involved than most because this didn't just concern Nano, it also concerned editors as well as animators.
Oh,
So here's what
yeah,
Bao had to say in her
yeah,
document,
because she was
saying,
like,
"Hello,
oh yeah,
this
she
is
stole my
Bao. I will
editor."
only speak to what Nanoless has decided to share with the public and the messages that directly mention me by name. I would like to kindly ask everyone to refrain from turning this into a witch hunt and remember that we are still humans at the end of the day. Before I start, I
Yeah,
want to
everything
point
I
out
know
why
about
I'm
this was
addressing
just a
Cinder and
TLDR from
Redacted, despite the
Tetra and
messages
Yara.
being largely
So
from
I didn't
Redacted.
know very
Many times
much.
throughout the messages, the words we, we're, our occur numerous times. As someone who was close to and worked with Cinder for years, I have firsthand experience in how Cinder and Red collaborate and the extent to which Red operates as her primary point of contact in her professional and personal projects. It is that experience that leads me to
We're gonna
believe
find
that
I
all
have another
requests and
video
messages
after
sent by
this
Red were both known
that,
about and approved of by Cinder. In March
goes over the
2024,
1,000-page
I announced that one of my
doc, so we'll
subathon
find
goals was
out.
a Live 2D model. This right here is the tweet.
I think
of her
Nano should have
announcement.
stood on
If she
fucking
reaches 10,000
business
subs,
and,
she's gonna commission a new sexy mommy Live 2D model. That's
should
what
have
she's
just
referring to.
fucking
She then
put up
continues,
boundaries,
Nanoless
you
was
know?
going to be the Live 2D illustrator. After she finished both the design and base model sketch, there was suddenly back and forth on whether or not she had the physical and mental capacity to continue my model. I was very sad as I had not only teased the screenshot of the model sketch on Twitter, but I had grown very attached to the design and showed it to all my friends in a private group chat that Cinder was a part of. I shared how devastated I was and she did not comment or say anything despite others in the group chat comforting and reassuring me. I now realize that the reason for her silence was because Cinder and Redacted were deliberately sabotaging ongoing commissions and blocking VTubers such as myself from having
Yeah, that's
access to
fucking
art
crazy.
from Nanoless. She then shows us the same screenshots that were in Nano's document, in which we now know that Bao, Cotton, as well as other VTubers were directly targeted by both REdacted and Sinder. Bao then continues in her document and says, Nanoless asks REdacted on why he is encouraging her to not finish my model. REdacted then lists my name amongst various VTubers as well as the vendettas Sinder and REdacted harbor against each. She then lists all these reasons that they were targeting Bao. The first one being, Bao has been getting on our nerves for a while. The second, she hijacked our YouTube editor. The third, constantly picking up artists that we work with. The fourth, now she's barking up the tree of one of our live 2D animators. And the fifth, has a way of guilt-tripping others to get her way. This is what REdacted lists as reasons why Nanoless should cancel her ongoing Life 2D commission with me, all the while continuing to collaborate with me and pretending to be my friend. This is not what friends do. Friends do not sabotage other friends out of business opportunities. Friends do not spread lies to fuel selfish narratives. Friends do not use the private information they get from the privilege of being close friends just to use it to manipulate others. If stepping on your friends and abusing your power and connections is how you get to the top, then I hope you realize no one will be left when you get there. She then links another screenshot we saw in Nano's document of REdacted asking, did you cancel the models? And then says more screenshots of them urging Nanoless to cancel the ongoing Life 2D commission with me, even mentioning how excited I was about it when I showed them the design during Sinder and I's concert at WeebCon in 2024. That is so scummy. Again, this is a screenshot that we saw in Nano's document. So then Bao mentions something that happened in this conversation between Nano and REdacted, in which REdacted was urging her to cancel the model with Bao, and Nano saying, I can give her the design for free as an apology gift. REdacted then said, I wouldn't offer it for free, maybe half price if she starts shit, lol, and Bao quotes that sentence of REdacted and says, I don't know what I have ever done to either REdacted or Sinder to deserve this level of vitriol towards me. I don't remember having any issue or any problem that couldn't have been solved by talking. So yeah, this is really, really screwed up, obviously. I mean, anyone can tell, right? It's like Bao murdered
like I said, I think that
like what did she do, man? Anyone who's ever worked with her
should have been boundaries.
Nothing but good things about her. Out of all her friends, she decided to target the person who is probably the nicest out of all of them. Anyway, Bao continues, saying, regarding the messages where Sinder and REdacted openly accuse me of stealing their YouTube editor, Boss Rush music video animator, as well as any artist they have worked with, she attaches an image that shows an email between her and Kaiser, their YouTube editor, in which she says, Hi Kaiser, nice to meet you. I was just watching your stream highlight from me and Sinder's collab, and I really loved your editing style and humor. I was curious if I could request a video edit from you every now and then if you have any availability. My username is Bao on Discord if you want to chit-chat more there. Thanks again. And Kaiser says, Hi Bao, I'd love to edit a video for you. I just sent a friend request on Discord. Bao continues in the document saying she hijacked our YouTube editor. Their YouTube editor, Kaiser, is a mutual YouTube channel editor for myself and Sinder. My channel manager, June, and I asked Kaiser for one stream highlight per month as we are aware of his extensive position as Sinder's channel manager. I made a point to note this in my inquiry email to him in 2023. She then shows a screenshot of a call that lasted 5 hours and says, on March 20th, I started a group Discord call that lasted 5 hours to hang out with my editors. In this group call, Kaiser shared with us that he was afraid to ask Sinder for a raise because he initially turned down an exclusivity deal. As a friend to both Sinder and Kaiser, I encouraged him to take the deal and reassured him that it would not change our friendship, as I would never want someone I care about to miss an opportunity, even if it meant I would lose him as an editor. The other editors who were in the call can corroborate.
Oh yeah, it totally wasn't a problem until I decided to get pissy about it.
Betrayal I feel now, knowing that on the other side of this conversation, Sinder and REdacted were actively portraying me as a thief and a detriment to their business. I've only ever supported them and their activities and never once thought that I had somehow gotten on their nerves. She then quotes what REdacted said in the DMs with Nano, a sentence that said, Bao had original songs last year that had music videos by her editor and the songs flopped.
Yeah.
Bao then says, I'm in
such
shock
a wild
and disbelief
fucking
that this
thing
is the
to say.
narrative they decided I deserved, saying that I harbored an invisible jealousy because my songs flopped made me feel sick to my stomach. In late 2024, I was dealing with debilitating TMJ pain that resulted in me having to drain fluid from my jaw joint to open my mouth properly. They both knew this. I have always wanted my friends to succeed alongside me, and I don't know how they could say these things while simultaneously weaponizing my most vulnerable moments against me. I mean, at this point, no comment, right? Like, no comment.
Yeah, that's
this
crazy.
is disgusting. For years, they were trying to backstab her as hard as they could. She had no idea. She thought they were friends.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy,
So this was
dude.
her clearing up the whole idea that she stole their editor. She did nothing of the sort. But then there was the topic of her animator. So here she quotes the sentence that REdacted had told Nanoless, which is, we're 99% sure she told him, Sacramore, her animator, not to do any more with us, referring to the Boss Rush music videos. And these screenshots were in Nano's initial document. involved. Bao says, in these messages, Sinder and Redacted are referring to my animator, Sakamore, whom I have been working with since 2023. She proves this by showing DMs between them in 2023. Bao saying, hi, I'm going to bed, but give me your rates and turnaround time for a video like the Bao Experience one. Me and my editors loved it. And Sak said, yo, all good. Then she continues, in 2024, Sak asked me if he could go completely exclusive for me and work for me in-house with no credit in order for him to be able to quietly work on his personal projects and brand without having VTubers asking for more commission work. I was happy to accept. I want to reiterate that this was Sak's decision and no one else's. Then she says, here's proof of Sak mentioning his wishes to be my in-house animator directly to my channel manager June back in December 2024, refuting Redacted's claims that I locked him up due to Boss Rush's success. These DMs between Sak and June, her channel editor, have Sak asking, yo, is it fine if going forward I don't be credited in video descriptions? To which June says, okay. Sak then says, thank you. I'd rather just be more an in-house type of thing for Bao after this blank thing is done. It's the last commission I ever do for anyone besides Bao, and want to make a name for myself through my own content and not really my work for others next year. So again, Bao showed up with a proof and she's showing us how delusional Redacted and Sinder were.
Yeah,
Bao then ends this by asking, why aren't you solving this privately? And then replies, if you look at the timeline of events from Nano's document, some of those messages date back years. I found out about this less than 48 hours ago, and they did not give me common courtesy of talking to me privately about this over those years. My thoughts, feelings, my most vulnerable, darkest moments that I shared in confidence with people I thought would be by my side years and years from now may have been used as information to ruin my chances to have the same VTuber model as someone I thought was my friend, and I don't know how I can ever be the same after this. I would like to
this
ask
is
the
so
community to refrain
shitty.
From spreading any harmful speculation. Everything shared in this document
So
was done with the
shitty.
express permission of those who shared it with me. I made this document with the intent to refute the claims made about me in the screenshots. Thank you for taking the time to read this. Yeah, what a roller coaster, right? And I just feel very bad for everyone involved in this, of course, except Sinder and Redacted, because this is a horror story. Imagine opening up to someone, thinking they're your friend, always thinking about what's best for them and not coming in their way. And then it turns out that not just recently,
I would be in fucking shambles
ever
if
since
like
you knew them, they've only
Gail
had
or
negative things to say
Tetra or
about you
your or like
privately.
any of
That
my
is
friends
wild, and that of course
did
will traumatize
shit
a
like
person.
this to me.
It's crazy. The VTuber Sane compiled all the different collabs and things that both Bao and Sinder worked on.
I would be
to
fucking
really show how much of a
beside
terrible
myself,
person she
dudes.
was talking like this behind her back. The song used in the video is a song from Sinder, I'm pretty sure, so I'm gonna mute that just in case she wants to copyright me. Here you go, look at this. They collabed so many different times and met up IRL so many times too. Like, look at this tweet from Bao.
That's crazy.
Love you, Sinder. The fact that this is your first shot at anything musically is incredible, and I can't wait to see where you go from here. That's my girl. Like, this is insane.
Yeah, that's
the
fucking
people who
nuts,
were
dude.
mentioned in Bao's document made sure to confirm publicly that what she was saying was true. Her channel manager June quote tweeted the document Bao posted and said, hello, I'm Bao's channel manager, and yes, I was there in the call with Kaiser, Bao, and Sak, and Bao encouraged Kaiser to take the raise. It was definitely something she thought would be best for him. Bao supported any opportunity or anything that Kaiser would choose to go. Sak, who is her animator, also quote tweeted the document Bao posted and said, feel free to read if you want. Go show love and support to both Nano and Bao though, and linked a Google document that recounted his experiences in this entire situation. So Sak starts this document off with, this is going to be very unorganized, but I'll try and keep this brief since I don't really think that they, Red specifically, deserve any more of my attention after hearing what they have said about me and also how working with them was. So he specifies again that he wanted to go anonymous and in-house, not because Bao forced him to, but because he wanted to. He wanted to focus on his own channel while not worrying about having to be commissioned by other people. Then he addresses what Redacted told Nanoless about him, where he says her editor met us at TwitchCon and was saying that he'd love to work with us, practically jumping through hoops to get something planned. Sak says, when me and Sinder initially discussed working on a music video project at TwitchCon, everything was fine and friendly. However, the part that is stated as practically jumped through hoops is, well, a bit of an overstatement to say the least, since they had asked me a significant amount of times trying to get me to work with them after I told them no multiple times, and I only said yes because they offered double pay. So in this DM, you can see in September, Redacted reaching out to Sak,
didn't even want to
asking,
work
"You
with
happen to be
them for
available a music video
real.
in a week or two, would you?" And Sak saying, no, I'm completely full every day this month, and earliest I could do is November 9th. Sak really tried to make it work, but couldn't find any slots in his schedule. Redacted would continue asking questions. How long does it take you to make a music video? What do you need? And even with Sak saying multiple times, I really can't, I'd love to, but I just can't, he says things like, okay, thanks though, Sak. You're missing out on a good one.
Oh,
Like,
God.
bro, he stated he wants to, but just can't. Redacted then keeps messaging Sack, talking to him about project specifics, asking him how long things would take him, and seeing when he's free. And then on the 12th of November 2024, Redacted messages Sack saying, "Are you available? Sorry for getting back to you so late." Sack says, "All good. I'm still 100% down to do it. I would be able to start like the first or second week of December for like mid-December release. Is that okay?" And Redacted says, "We were hoping end of November
it's
release."
the 12th of November.
"Oh, yeah, that would be impossible for me."
It's the 12th of November.
Like I said, I'm still super down to do it and really hope to be able to work with Sinder on the video, but my schedule is always super packed / fully planned weeks and months ahead without much wiggle room, so just let me know what y'all would like to do or feeling. And then Redacted says, "What if we pay you double?" Sack then says, "Blank and I'll cook," to which Redacted says, "You can send the invoice to blank whenever, we'll get it paid ASAP." Sack then continues in the document saying, "Also, I'm not sure what they're on about with Bao not knowing about me working with them, since I asked Bao with Cinder and Red standing right next to me at TwitchCon if it was fine, since I had agreed to do all the Halloween album but would probably miss one of the songs, and she had no problems with it at all." So even though this would sacrifice the music video for one of Bao's songs in her album, she still said, "Yes, please go ahead."
That's crazy.
I mean, Cinder is her friend, as far as she knew, right?
Crazy,
Then Sack
bro.
goes on to detail his work experience with Cinder and Redacted, saying, "Also, the stream was pushed back for the reason of the video wasn't done yet. Song was going up at 2 p.m. if I remember. However, this part really got under my skin due to the fact that it was just straight up not true, and if something goes wrong in the video production line, no matter who's at fault, the blame will always fall to the editor / animator pretty much every time. I'm still not sure why stream was pushed back. So it felt as if I was getting passive-aggressively blamed publicly on stream in front of thousands for the lateness really upset me, since the video was not late even under a very tight deadline where I did not even receive all the artwork until the 18th, the first full master until the 19th, and was then asked to also make a teaser version as well as an ad for the end of the video for their merch on the 21st, which I was not informed of at all prior to planning. I also had skipped going home for Thanksgiving after having a family member pass to get this video done and rushed the hell out of it. Entire video was done from scratch in a little under 2 weeks, since there were quite a few both visual and audio assets I did not have at the time that even remotely resembled what the final product will sound like. So I felt like this was an attack on my work ethic, which is something I take quite a lot of pride in. I did not receive the merch assets until the 27th as well either. Even with revisions and all the extra trailers, the video was completed and delivered on time with enough time for YouTube to process the 4K version. There's probably more that I should clarify, since I'm aware this is unbelievably poorly organized, but I'm very tired and don't feel like giving any more energy to these people. If there's anybody who has questions for me, just send me a DM. So this clears up more things that were happening behind the scenes between Sack and Cinder as well as Redacted, shows us that Bao was nothing more than an amazing friend, and also, even though Cinder and Redacted fought so hard to get Sack over, paying him double his rate, they were terrible clients who weren't prepared, didn't know what they wanted, and still managed to make Sack look bad in front of their audience, even though he missed Thanksgiving just to get the video done on time. It's overall a terrible situation. With all these documents releasing, pressure was mounting very hard on Cinder, with people demanding answers. So many looked up to her and loved her content purely because of how warm and gentle and kind of a person she portrayed herself on screen. But now people were realizing this was nothing more than an illusion. Hours later, Cinder finally tweeted something saying, "Effective immediately. Redacted will no longer be managing or overseeing my VTuber activities. He no longer represents me as a creator, my brand, or my intentions. I'm sorry, everyone. I will make a larger response when I'm able." So I'm sure you wouldn't be surprised when I tell you that this response left a lot to be desired. But then another VTuber pointed out something very interesting. Vampeaches replied to that tweet and said, "I remember playing Phasmophobia with you and hearing Red chat away next to you before you first debuted like 4 years ago. You told
Nobody knew it was her boyfriend.
Then before you went for TwitchCon, you switched up and said, 'Just so you know, my manager is coming with me on this trip.' As if I didn't know who he was. It's even ickier to read this tweet knowing he's your significant other, and that you're probably going to try and avoid taking responsibility for hurting people who trusted you as friends by nuking the Red side of this duo." So as everyone could have guessed, Redacted is her significant other. He's her boyfriend.
I didn't realize we didn't know that. I thought that was like a known thing.
And yet, right now, she was throwing him under the bus to try and save her career, when everyone knows this is nothing more than a desperate attempt to save your skin without facing
crazy,
any responsibility. It was a very lackluster response to an apocalyptic expose on who she is behind the scenes.
Crazy.
And speaking of who she was behind the scenes, someone else came out with a document by the name of Rain on a topic that no one could have ever expected, saying, "Fuck it. My experience with Tashi/Cinder, content warning, cheating?" Dude, this just keeps getting worse. Let's look at this document. So this goes back way before Cinder was even a thing. This is about Tashi, her previous persona. Things were getting so spicy.
This
my
is
tongue
before
isn't
she was
working
even
anymore.
famous?
The document starts off with, hello. Thank you for taking the time to read this document. The events described in it happened about 4 to 5 years ago before the first Cinder debut. I understand there will be accusations of me clout chasing by revealing them. However, I wanted to corroborate Nanoless's assertion that she is not who she appears to be on the surface, and confirm that no matter how much damage control she does, she is just as responsible as REdacted. The first section is titled The Beginning. Cinder and I met while she was still running her Tashi.mp3 YouTube channel, which is why all the following screenshots will show her as Tashi rather than Cinder, and that will come up later. At the time, she was only starting her account, and I already had my own ASMR RP channel with 8k subscribers, and as a bigger channel than her, she couldn't wait to work with someone as talented as me. This message dates back to May 2020, with Tashi saying, "You'll get there. It's still hard for me to believe that someone so talented likes my voice enough to want to work together." Rain continues and says, "We never ended up actually making any content together, but that didn't stop us from talking pretty much every day at the time, and eventually she found a new way to make me useful." The next section is titled, "Oh dear." Pretty much immediately she was flirting with me despite, as you can see here, having a boyfriend, and both of us knowing she had a boyfriend, including regularly talking shit about him to me while telling me how great it would be if I were to replace him. What the hell?
She was fucking cucking him? Are we kidding right now, bro?
Oh my God.
She was fucking
cucking
cucking
him.
him.
Rain saying, "Besides, you said it's hard when your boyfriend
This is
far,
too
far away. I'm
good.
not your boyfriend,
This is
am I?"
too
To which Tashi
good.
says, "No, but how nice that would be.
This is,
Your
oh my
perfect
fucking
boyfriend
God.
material, heart." Okay. Rain then
This is
continues,
too good,
"Oh,
bro.
so you want to go at it behind his back? How sneaky." And then she says, "Hi, honey. I've been talking to this guy about how badly I want him to fuck me since he wanted to buy a flashlight instead of giving me any attention when I'm needy." What? Right, that says, "Fucking oof, dude. Literally, why would you even need a flashlight when you have a girlfriend?" And then Tashi/Cinder replies with, "He sent me a screenshot a couple weeks ago telling me he was getting one and had the nerve to use it in front of me to show me how great it was. Wow, yeah, it must be great." Rain then says, "Yo, what the fuck? That's like me inviting you to a chatterbait room so you can watch me fuck someone else in all the ways I said I want to fuck." To which she replies with, "Isn't that great?" Rain then says, "I'm very slowly not feeling as bad for him about all this, because it did honestly leave a bit of a bad taste in my mouth that all this was happening while you were taken. But then, yeah, that's a bit, did you tell him that was fucked up and hurtful to you?" She then replies with, "He asked me if I was okay with it, and after I explained how I felt, he told me it was too late to do anything about it because it shipped, and he kept it." Rain then says,
Wait. Wait, oh, okay. He shipped. I thought she said it chipped, and I was like, how do you chip a fleshlight? Okay, hot take. Also, Christian, thank you for the resub. 20 fucking months, bro. That's crazy. Hot take. Your partner gets a sex toy. Just use it with them. Use it on them. Like, use it together. It's really not that fucking deep, bro. Like, unless he's actively like, "Nah, babe, I know you're super down to fuck, but I would rather fuck my fleshlight," which, like, I fucking doubt it, right? Like, that's not a real person. That is not words that a real person is going to say. Like, look, my interpretation, this bitch is busy. Like, this bitch is busy. She is streaming. She is probably like keeping up with people after stream. Like, she's busy. If her boyfriend wants to fuck a fleshlight while she's busy, I don't know why that's such a weird, bad thing. Like, why are we demonizing the use of sex toys? Now, again, if it's like an active choice and for some reason he would rather fuck this fleshy plastic than a real life wop, like, that's his problem. But I can't fucking imagine a world in which that happens, right? Like, who gets jealous of a fucking fleshlight to the point that they start emotionally cheating on their partner? Who is that petty? What the fuck? That's insanity, right? Like that's insanity. That's not real. That's not real, bro.
It's your relationship, and
That's
the only
not
ones who can
real.
decide what is and isn't okay is you two. But that just sounds really
over
sketchy to me.
Among
And why
Us,
did he ask if you
bro.
were okay with it after he bought it? Well, all I'm going to say on this is two
That's
wrongs don't make a
crazy.
right.
That's
as much
not
as I
real,
enjoy the sex
bro.
thing, it's really not right if you still want to be with him. I
That's-
would either try to
yeah,
reconcile
that's
with
not
him and
real,
get what
bro.
you need out of the relationship and step back from me a bit, or maybe consider taking a break. And I know that
My
last part
opinion,
sounds fucked
she's
coming from
lying
me,
about
but I
this to make
swear
herself
on my
feel better
life,
about
I'm
cheating.
Not being scummy about it.
That's my hot take.
My opinion. She then
That's my hot
replies,
take.
I've just been really stressed about everything, and talking to you makes me feel so much better. I don't want to lose what we have.
Yeah,
but
no,
I'm
that's
such
my
an
hot
awful
fucking
person.
take.
I don't deserve it anyway. Rain then says, I don't believe you're an awful person. I believe that you're stressed,
She's
you're emotional, and you're looking for something to make it better. which
Bro,
happens-
she's baiting you. She's baiting you. She's baiting you. She's saying sexy shit to hook you. And then she's like, oh, but I'm such a bad person, but I can't help it because my boyfriend isn't satisfying me and I'm so unhappy. But like, aren't I such a bad person? By the way, let's fuck. But like, you wouldn't want to fuck me, right? Because I'm such a bad person. What the fuck? What the actual fuck, bro? These people are not real. These people are like not real. That's
happened to be me when he wasn't
crazy.
helping. Listen, take a break from what we have just for a little bit and see if you can get something out of him first. You can't really have both of us. Plus, it wouldn't be very fulfilling for me to just be the other guy in this scenario and not get the full relationship experience myself. You can do it, sweetie. I believe you can. Truly. She then says, I'm so sorry. I don't know what I'd do without you. To which he says, I'm not saying to stop talking to me completely. I'll still be right here to support you, whichever decision you end up making. And then she says, I love you so much. I don't know how to thank you. Bro, this is so weird.
Bro, what the fuck?
So weird, man. Look,
Yeah.
I'm convinced this is some weird, like, roleplay fantasy she has. She knew that Rain
Oh
felt
my
really
God.
weird about this, knowing that she had a boyfriend, so she was making up this story to make him
Yeah.
feel less guilty
Yeah.
about cheating.
I'm glad we're
That's
on the
just my
same
theory,
fucking
right? But I just
page,
find
bro.
her story
I'm glad
so
we're same on the
unbelievable that
fucking
it just can't
page.
be true. Rain then continues in the document saying, despite what was evidently nothing serious for her and just a means of keeping herself occupied, she felt the need to keep stringing me along with proclamations of real love, which again, I was silly to have believed in the first
Oh
place,
my
but
God.
still. And it's a
Bro.
screenshot of her saying, regardless, I'm always going to love you. He then continues in the
Bro.
document, for obvious reasons, I won't share any of the explicit sexting, not just because of the NSFW nature of it, but also I just don't think it helps. However, note that all this went on for several months. and
Several
included more than
months,
just text,
bro.
as both the date and the contents of the following screenshots prove. This was in September of 2020, so months since the last
She
DMs
sent
I saw,
him
and it features Rain
pictures?
saying, I mean, it looked like
Oh
something
my
was
God.
going down there either way. And then Tashi replies with, it's called fingering, dear. Oh my God.
Don't worry,
The
Dragoon.
document then
Apparently she's got
continues. One
stupid
reason I
fat
felt it
fingers
important to
too.
share these details in particular is because I never found out if Red got told about what happened, especially not in full lucidity. The primary
Oh my
reason I held
fucking
on to all
God,
this for so
bro.
long was an itching feeling that Redacted
Oh my
never fully
fucking
knew, and I
God.
always felt like it would be unnecessary drama, so I left it alone. But now seems as good a time as any.
Bro,
Redacted, if you're
okay.
reading this, I'm sorry for all that happened back then. I really am, but given the actions you two have taken together regarding other VTubers, I still think you're perfect for each other regardless.
Okay, listen here, fuckheads. Listen here. If any of you catch me out sexting some other person, tell Mr. Sleepy. I mean, he will probably already know about it. But like, just tell him. Just tell him. If I just slide into your DMs somehow and I'm just like, oh, I'm so horny. Oh, baby. Please just like screenshot it and send to Mr. Sleepy. Because clearly I would be out of my fucking mind. That's insane. I didn't want to tell him because I didn't want to start drama. There's like, look, there's girl code, which would say that like you would tell, like if the genders were reversed, like there's girl code where you would like tell the girl. Do guys not have bro code? Like, does bro code not dictate that like just bro to bro, you should probably tell her boyfriend? Like, For real, on God, that's nuts. That's crazy, bro. And yes, thank you for selling me out to my husband, who I would never actively cheat on. But yeah, that's I can't, bro. This is crazy. This is so fucking cringe.
The last section of this
This
document
is so
is
fucking
the
cringe.
end. After Cinder got done using me for fleeting sexual gratification, our conversation slowed down, exacerbated by
So
the Cinder
bro
character
code is
coming
not
into
for
fruition and
everyone.
finding
Got
immediate
it.
Success. I had stopped making content for a decent length of time by then, and thus she no longer felt she could ladder climb from me. Here we can see this was a conversation
Oh,
in
shit.
mid-2021 with Tashi saying, hey, what was your exam
Yeah,
for? I
yeah,
haven't been on
yeah.
this Discord account super often, so I missed a bit. And Rain said she made a new group chat without
So
me.
she
I kid,
stopped
but yeah, they were
talking
the
to
entrance
him
exams for the
as
uni
she
college.
got
Tashi
as she
said,
became
"Nice,
Cinder,
congrats on
I
passing
guess.
them. I've just been on the VTuber side of things working with commissions and whatnot." And then Rain said, "What? And Cinder doesn't want to be my friend? Only Tashi does?" To which she replied with, "It's just easier not having multiple
Sorry, I'm too
ongoing
famous for you now,
conversations."
fuckhead.
Rain continues in the document saying, "Until eventually she stopped using that account altogether and committed
Yeah,
fully to Cinder,
sorry,
and I never heard
I'm
from her
too
again,
famous
something
for
I
you,
was uncannily
fuckhead."
aware would happen even back then." These are DMs from around the same time in 2021.
Okay, I have kind of a hot take. I have not about any of this, but like prior to being Sleepy's Planet, I did have a different Discord. But I moved all of my friends from that Discord into the Sleepy's Planet Discord. I did not just become Sleepy's Planet and then say, "Oh gosh, guys, we can't hang out anymore." That's fucking crazy. That's fucking crazy, dude. Like, yeah, that's crazy, bro. I can't imagine. I'm still friends with like my earliest VTuber friends. We don't talk a lot because I don't talk a lot in general. Like I'm not a super active person on Discord in general, but like as far as I know, we're all still friends. Yeah, I can't imagine just being like, "Damn, I'm too famous for you now." I'm too fucking famous for you now. Go away. Bro.
With Rain saying, "I'll message you at this time in 2022 and you won't even remember who I am," to which Tashi said, "I'd never forget
I'd
you."
never
Rain then continues
forget
the document
you,
and says, "And that's
but
pretty
I'm
much
gonna
it.
leave
This
you
isn't
in
meant
the
to be a witch
dirt
hunt. We
as
all
I
make
become
mistakes, including
Cinder."
me, as I've shown in the same document, but it felt like a good time to get off my chest things that I've been on it for half a decade now and to finally get some
Bruh.
closure, even though I know how bad I look alongside her. She's
Yeah.
an opportunist whenever she can find a way to be,
Bro.
and she does not care what happens to the people she
Coco,
springs
hey,
off
what's
from. I
up,
can only hope she
Coco?
takes this as
I
an
hope you're doing
opportunity to change
well.
and grow as a person, and I'm just going to throw this one in the end because it's kind of funny for me to see in retrospect. Okay, thanks for reading. And it's a message from Tashi in
Jesus
2020
Christ.
saying, "Don't forget about me when you become a big popular YouTuber." You know what? I didn't read this document until I started recording, and yeah, this caught me by surprise. Wow. You know, I wish
Bruh.
Rain had shown this a long time ago so people would have known, okay, this person's kind of weird.
Yeah.
And maybe Bao and Nano wouldn't have been backstabbed so goddamn hard. But it does leave a bad taste in my mouth in regards to Rain as well. Releasing this information now does seem opportunistic, because it seems like it's cool to hate on Cinder. In other words, he was backstabbing her.
I
the
don't
same
care if it's
exact way she was
opportun. Yeah, I don't
backstabbing
care if it's
others right now.
opportunistic.
But
I think
speaking of
people
backstabbing,
should
we were
know
slowly but
about shit
surely
like this.
uncovering the other people that Cinder had backstabbed because documents kept coming out.
I'm good,
Spite,
Coco.
another
Just
big
been,
independent VTuber,
just been
posted
spending
this
time
on
with baby
Twitter,
Sleepy.
quote tweeting Nanoless saying, "My experience with Cinder," and attaching a Google document.
Gonna be coming back to streaming a couple times a week,
This is
though.
when we uncover one of the two last missing pieces of the puzzle. There are two more VTubers that were backstabbed by Cinder that were censored in Nano's original document. So which one is Spite? Well, let's read the document. It starts off
assuming
by
VTuber
saying,
number
"I want to
one."
start by saying, please do not send any hate to anyone involved in this. I only wish to speak about my experiences and give more clarity on those experiences. First and foremost, my love and admiration goes out to Nanoless for having the courage to bring this to light. Artists are the backbone of our community, and taking advantage of her goodwill personality is saddening to see. I want to take the time to address what has been
Bruh.
brought to light involving myself and what I've experienced over the years that coincide with these events. In this screenshot, the VTuber that is being talked about is very clearly me. Since the beginning of my VTuber journey, it has been written in
yeah.
my backstory and lore that I'm the daughter of Cerberus, and through an unforeseen summoning mishap, the Greek goddess Hecate. As many may know, Cerberus is a species of hellhound, and I've always incorporated the number 3 in my designs to follow the 3 heads of Cerberus in my early design, and when artists were still learning new model/rigging techniques, I had opted for 2 other wolf heads on my shoulders as pauldrons to symbolically represent my 2 other heads. However, the repeated comments of, if you're a Cerberus, where are your other 2 heads, had pushed me to use the broader term hellhound at the time. Fast forward to months, to a year into my journey, and I started to receive harassment and berating comments and chat messages on Twitch and YouTube videos comparing me to Cinder and putting me down.
That's because VTuber fans are fucking feral, and they will defend their Oshi into the fucking ground, bro.
I didn't want to be associated with her due to all the negativity that was being thrown.
Imagine being a VTuber fan, guys.
Screenshots that were included in Nano's document, in which Redacted claims that Spite unfollowed Cinder on Twitter, and this is what she has to say about it. As for the claims of unfollowing her and taking her ideas, I debuted my 2.0 Live 2D model May 14th, 2022, and on that same day, she decided to post her debut announcement for her 1.0 Live 2D model. Leading up to this time, I didn't know who Cinder was at all. I had no idea she had fire in her ears or she was another hellhound. The creator space is broad, and I still stumble across creators larger than myself.
BRB guys rebranding to Fire on my horns.
All I ever want is to try to be unique in my own way, so these claims that I was following her and then unfollowing and stealing her ideas are absolutely baseless and uncalled for. This is a screenshot that shows that Spite was doing her 2.0 debut on May 3rd, 2022, and 11 days later, Cinder was barely revealing her first model. She had not even done her debut yet. Spite continues in the document saying posting her debut announcement trailer the same day as my 2.0 debut seemed off, but I shrugged it off as a coincidence because things happen. However, this wasn't the last time something like this had happened. There have been multiple times where I have done something and either the same day or shortly after I was made aware or had discovered later that something similar had been posted, making me feel like I was being watched constantly. I tried my best to believe that it was coincidental and not ill intent on their part. There were many times where I designed an outfit that I was really excited for, but afterwards, Cinder would release outfits or models with similarities.
I would have thought it was sus.
I didn't think much of it at first because it is normal to have some similarities or shared inspirations with other creators.
I guess it depends on how similar it is.
Space and similarities are normal.
Any pink and black VTubers though, I'm fucking coming for you, bro.
I'm addressing the need for the unprovoked tweets mentioned in the screenshots above and showing that I made the statements to make it clear that I was not stealing ideas. How can I copy something that was released/teased/revealed after my own? On July 20th, 2022, Maui Live, my model Mama, and I worked on a comfy goth girl outfit. I had rips in my shirt, a G-string, shorts, and spiked wrist cuffs. 2 weeks after, Cinder debuted a similar outfit. I included the earliest image that I could find of Cinder with this outfit. I received many negative comments about my design from people assuming that I copied her when I debuted it 2 weeks before hers. I got called off-brand Cinder and just a bunch of horrible things. So these are DMs with her artist saying, "Sounds great, I'm so happy with it," on July 20th, 2022, showing that she was working on this outfit way before the tweet that Cinder made on September 14th, 2022, asking, "What do you think of my new outfit that looks very similar?" Spite then continues in her document saying, "I discovered this merchandise that she used for Uwu Market and had to do a double take because of the gray-blue skin tone used in the art. Several people thought it was me, and the similarities for this speak for themselves, I feel." So this is the design itself.
Yeah,
and I mean, they do look pretty damn similar.
It does look similar.
She continues, "On April 29th, 2024, I designed a Greek goddess outfit on stream. I am a Cerberus VTuber, so it fits my lore completely. I mentioned that I may or may not get a future Greek goddess outfit because it fits my branding. About 4 months ago, Cinder debuted a Heaven Okami-inspired outfit. It was white and gold, resembling a Greek goddess. In the background for debut, she also included Greek columns. At this point, I felt like nothing I could come up with would be even slightly original to me. I'm aware that nothing is completely original, but I still wanted my own identity." So here's the outfit that she drew on her stream, and then here is the debut stream with the new outfit that Cinder came up with. She then continues, "On April 20th, 2024, I debuted a new model from my model mama, REVT. I got a hoodie with a cute design on top, and I had side bangs covering my eyes. On April 4th, 2025, so a year later, Cinder debuted a sports hoodie with side bangs covering her eyes similar to mine." Is this a coincidence, or is it truly her trying to copy everything she's
having
doing?
the same bangs as somebody else?
She then continues, "There are some instances that I do not have screenshots of. For example, I remember posting about my first ASMR stream. The day that I was supposed to do said stream, Cinder plugged her ASMR channel. I thought it was a bit suspect, but brushed it off. I don't have any screenshots of the comments and bullying that I received from her community. There were too many that it became too much to keep track of.
You gotta be the only one, bro.
Because I never wanted to save images of their words that hurt me. I didn't even want to read the harassing comments in the first place. I just wanted to be left alone and be happy in my own space. I received a DM on January 25th, 2023. I will not disclose who the sender was without their consent. The sender expressed to me that they were getting bullied by Cinder and certain members of Cinder's community because she too had fire in her ears. I never responded to the DM because I wanted to stay away from drama as much as possible. Here's what the DM said. Hey, you popped in my feed and can I just say I love your design. I had a rather odd question, I suppose. Have you had any messages from the VTuber Sinder regarding your design? This may seem out of nowhere, but I'm only asking because I had made an original character like a while back and I was accused by her and others of stealing her design because my dog girl
I'm calling it now. Flames on my horns next. Let's get canceled.
It was this whole big ordeal
Let's
on
get
Twitter, so I
canceled.
wondered if anything similar had happened to you yet. I would like to clarify, I, myself, am not saying your design looks like hers. I was scrolling, saw your totally awesome design. When I saw the flames near/in the ears, I had flashbacks and thought to myself, oh no. So
yeah, let's get fucking canceled, bro.
Getting the best of me. Spite continues in her document saying, I'm just very saddened and disappointed in this situation. I had my suspicions about this, but I've never wanted to be a part of drama, so I kept quiet. I've also seen what happens when a creator stands up for themselves and receives major backlash.
Only one person's allowed.
Right, so I've never vocalized my concerns. I've always designed my own models. I've gotten inspiration from Cerberus with the chains and spikes, Disney's Hades, and because I call myself Goth Girlfriend, I was inspired by Sam and Ember from Danny Phantom, plus many other of our goth crushes that we've had growing up. I just focused on myself and my friends. Meanwhile, I had eyes on me the whole time. Knowing that I was being watched and talked poorly about really hurts, especially when they never attempted to interact with me. I did my best to go through and find what I could and get appropriate screenshots. It's crazy because I didn't know who Sinder was until she debuted her Life 2D. I just wanted to exist peacefully as a VTuber and spend my time drama-free. I woke up this morning in shock. It's terrifying and hurtful to know that someone could attempt to blacklist me when I've never even spoken to them. I hope going forward that no one else has to experience anything like this. Thank you guys for being supportive towards me. I love this community so much. Please go and give love and support to all those who have unfortunately been involved in the situation. Please support Nanoless, who was very brave enough to speak up, and the VTubers who were affected. Please support my first model mama, the wonderful Maui Live, and also my most recent model mama, the wholesome REVT. Thank you for taking the time to read this. So as I said in the beginning of this document, this was one of the last two remaining pieces of the puzzle. Who was this Cerberus that they were so obsessed with? A VTuber they never even bothered interacting with, who had this design even before Sinder, and yet they were completely and utterly obsessed with her in such a weird and unhealthy way. Honestly, Spite should get a restraining order. Let's be real here. But here's the thing. What about the last missing piece of the puzzle? The one who was called VTuber 1 in Nano's document. Well, this is one of the most screwed up cases of this entire incident, and we're about to find out why. So, you no doubt remember the screenshot in which REdacted was trying to blacklist Bao, Cotton,
all right,
and
we're gonna pause real quick. We're gonna pause real quick. All right, chat. I'm gonna pause because we're about to start the next section. I'm gonna make lunch and you guys are gonna watch an ad so that you don't have to watch it while I'm watching shit. Enjoy. Nah. Look, guys, look. I am a dream goddess VTuber, and any other VTuber that is associated with dreams or goddesses, canceled. Copycats, canceled. It's understandable. It's understandable. Canceled. Any VTubers using pink and black, canceled. VTubers with red eyes, canceled. VTubers with horns, canceled. Yeah, exactly. Any person who dreams at all, any person who has dreams, canceled, blacklisted, for sure. All right, we're going to watch this while I eat my fucking lunch.
Nano again. Well, we now know that this third VTuber is none other than Silvervale, yet another very big independent VTuber.
Canceled.
Many hours
Yeah,
after
canceled,
the initial
Hades,
statement
canceled.
from Nano, she quote tweeted Nano's tweet and said, "My statement on Sinder and REdacted, linking yet another Google Doc." It starts off with a section titled Introduction. I shouldn't have to say this, but me putting out this statement is not a call for or an excuse for anyone to turn the situation into a witch hunt. My intention for making a statement is strictly to give myself closure from the events of the past years and clarify how I have been personally affected. I debated if I wanted to even say anything after being asked if I wanted my name
we're
in the
gonna
original
hang
document
Hades
censored, as the
live on
situation is
stream.
much bigger than just my personal experience. However, after finding out how wide and extensive the transgressions were,
Even though I
feel the need
bought
to be
his
clear in my
model.
situation and how I was personally affected. I want to note, as others have, that though a majority of the messages are from REdacted, who is Sinder's manager, I find it impossible that he acted solely on his own intentions without Sinder's knowledge or consent, given the extent to which he has represented her publicly and professionally. The next section is titled Nano and VTuber 1, in which we see many messages that were already included in Nano's document, where Redacted was trying to convince Nano to go exclusive and not work with specific VTubers. As you can see, this is the message where he says you don't work with Bao, Cotton, or Silver at all.
Yeah, how was I supposed to know that in 2025 I was going to come back
says,
and we were just canceling people that had any resemblance to us?
Silver still asks for art every now and then, to which Redacted says, we could do it like when Silver asks for art, you tell her no, and then tell us to buy another art piece, like so you still get a job from it. So they wanted to blacklist Silver so hard that if Silver were to ask for any commissions,
fucking nuts,
Redacted
bro.
and Sinder were willing to pay money to Nano so that she doesn't take the job. We also get more clarity, right? The model that Redacted was talking about was Silver's model. The DMs between Nano and Sinder also reveal to us much more now that Silver's name has been uncensored. Here we can see Nano saying, just wanted to let you know I still love working with you in Red, but I'll understand if things don't work out because of Silver. I just love my clients. That's all. That was in February 2025, barely 2 months ago. So this person that Sinder was saying, I just get compared to her a lot even still today, was Silver. And Silver had no idea.
They look
this was
literally
happening behind her
nothing
back.
alike,
Silver then
bro.
continues in her document saying, I am VTuber 1 in the screenshots provided
They
by Nano
look
in her
nothing
document. I've been a friend and
alike.
client of Nano for years, and seeing how she was manipulated and abused by Sinder and Red makes me livid. She's an absolute sweetheart and just wants her clients to be happy. It breaks my heart to see how she was treated like a tool and a resource to be used for growth rather than a talented living person and gaslit into somehow believing that how she was being treated was okay. I am so proud of Nano for having the courage to come forward to the affected people with all of this and to let everyone know how they were being unknowingly sabotaged. I've spoken to her privately and want to be clear that I have no ill will or hard feelings towards Nano for her involvement in this. I urge people reading this to try and understand the emotional manipulation on display and empathize with her situation. There is a lot I could say about how disgusting I find their behavior towards other creators in general, but I want to focus on my personal experiences. The next section gets real, and it's titled Sinder and I, and this is where she goes into the very weird relationship she had with Sinder and really revealed the depth of the backstabbing. She starts off by saying, discovering that all of this was going on behind the scenes has been gut-wrenching. I didn't know Sinder, we weren't friends, and we have barely talked. Even writing this, I do not understand what I could have possibly done to warrant the level of malice and cruelty shown. In our private interactions, I was as cordial as possible, but I just wasn't interested in associating with her professionally or being her friend. From the few uncomfortable interactions I did have with her, I had gotten the vibe that her primary goal was to climb the social and content ladder and grow her brand. I am fully aware how common that attitude is and that that's just how you grow in this sphere, but I personally don't have the emotional fortitude or bandwidth to have friendships for the express purpose of growth. For the record, I think it's fine to have that view and approach to content creation, but I also reserve the right to simply not vibe with someone. I would much rather not associate with someone at all than pretend to be their friend for the purposes of growing my brand. The only time I had actually talked to her directly was during my meet and greet at TwitchCon 2023. I had just finished my meet and greet, and as I was wrapping up, she walked directly to the screen to meet me and had someone else take a picture of us together. I was not informed of this picture or asked permission for it, and only knew about it once I saw it on Twitter later on. And as you can see, this is a tweet from Sinder back in October 20th, 2023 with her saying, "Stop by to say hi after my meet, Wolf Girls." Really making it seem like her and Silver
that's why
were
she thinks
friends
they look
and
similar,
knew each
even though
other,
they have
but that
them
wasn't the case
completely
at all.
different
Silver then
designs.
continues
It's because they're
saying,
both
"After the meet and
fucking
greet, she
wolves.
contacted
Are
my
you
manager
kidding
at Mythic
me?"
to ask me to collab with her. I told them I would rather not collab, but accepted her friend request on Discord after turning her down. In private DMs, she reached out and asked me to do merch or another various form of collab to be monetized, to which I again declined. I will always prioritize my mental health and peace over any potential profit that would make me feel used transactionally and put me out of my comfort zone. So these are the DMs with her Mythic manager saying, also, Sinder really loved me and
rebranding to
collab,
a
so I
wolf
told her
girl.
I'd let you know. And I could throw you guys in a group chat if you were interested. To which Silvervale said, "Hello, I appreciate the sentiment, but I prefer to not do collabs." Her manager said, "No worries, hope you're having a good weekend." To which she said, "Oh, thanks, I'm trying to, just busy on lots of IRL stuff coming up, lol. Sorry for not being interested in collabs, I just like to do my own thing, but I'm always open to messages, lol. I hope you had fun at the con and everything went okay." So these are the brief DMs she had with Sinder. Silver starts off the conversation after accepting her friend request saying, "Hi." Sinder then replies with, "Hi Silver, sorry for getting back to you late. I've been super sick from TwitchCon. I guess a lot of us got sick after the last couple parties. I hope you had a good time at your meet and greet. It was nice to see you there. But yeah, no worries if you don't prefer to stream together. My manager suggested something more like sponsorships, merch, music, or some kind of other project together that maybe Mythic could help with if needed. I'd love to chat more either way." To which Silver replied with, "No worries, it's been super hectic and busy for everyone, lol. I hope you're feeling better. I'm really flattered by the persistence, but I'm just not interested in transactional relationships with anyone. I hope you can understand. So then we go back to Redacted's DMs about Silver, and we realize just how unhinged both he and Sinder were, accusing Silver of copying Sinder with that spinning figure and saying things like, oh, we just want Silver to recognize Sinder because she's a big VTuber, and typing in all caps, and the marketing potential and money they could make if they teamed up. Adding, I feel like there's this unspoken competition between them, like they need to one-up each other because Silver can't get along. Bro, she literally said in the DMs she's just not interested in transactional relationships, and she was as nice as possible. I've already said this multiple times in this video, but man, this is so weird. Silver then continues in her document saying, I had a new Live 2D models in the works for my birthday with Nano, which was eventually cancelled. I was devastated as Nano was the one who originally asked if she could do this model because she was excited to make it with all the new things she had learned, and my birthday was special. At the time, the reason given was health and stress reasons, which made sense given how much was on Nano's plate, and despite my disappointment, expressed my support for her prioritizing her health. I am now aware that the actual reason for her declining to work with me on my birthday model was external pressure from Redacted and Sinder. Words cannot describe how heartbroken I was and am. She then attaches a screenshot with her and Nano in DMs, with Nano saying, Silver, I have to cancel the model commission. I'm sorry, my manager told me I have to cancel the most commissions possible for health reasons. I've been working too hard and it's getting into me. I really apologize for this
look, she should have just been fucking honest,
I was looking forward to it so much. I love your art so much and I've been so excited for a new model from you. I understand. You have to prioritize your health and taking care of yourself. I hope your health improves and you feel better. Make sure to get lots of rest and relaxation.
And that's such a reasonable response to that, even if she's like upset by it.
Nano replies with, I'm sorry, it hurts me a lot too. I just wish I could work on everything I could, but I believe I can still go for your model sometime next year. Yeah, that's a completely reasonable response. Silver then says, that's okay. I know you have a ton on your plate and can't imagine how stressful it must be. Do you think you can still do gamer subs tub art? And Nano says, oh yeah, illustrations are okay. And of course, they were only okay in the eyes of Redacted and Sinder, who were manipulating the hell out of her. And here Silver attaches two images that we already saw in Nano's document. And here we can see Redacted was saying, you didn't tell Silver you canceled because of Sinder, did you? What's even crazier here is that this message was completely uncensored too, in which Redacted said, well, let's see if Geary wants a Nano model or not and hope Silver finds someone else. So this is yet another content creator that was added to this mess that we weren't even aware of. Silver continues, I didn't think much of it at the time, but Cinder messaged me on Discord right before my model was cancelled. She celebrated that we shared art despite the fact that at the same time she and Redacted were actively working to take the potential for more away. Here you can see a private message from Cinder to Silver saying, hey Silver, I just got your gamer sub stuff in the mail and it looks amazing. It's so cute that we both have Nano's art on our merch and she's both our model mama. This is unhinged psychopathic behavior,
diabolical,
bro. Does this person even feel shame? At this point, I don't
diabolical.
Silver then ends this document with a section moving forward. Cinder and Redacted have spent years sabotaging me for no understandable reason. I have never done anything to warrant this other than just existing as Silvervale. They actively sought to get my models and art cancelled, and based on the messages I have seen and shared above, seem to have not had any second thoughts about doing so. It's hard to express how crushing a feeling it is to be talked about so cruelly and maliciously without my knowing, and to know opportunities and friendships were taken away for what I can only assume is spite and insecurity. There is no end to the amount of anxiety I feel knowing that if these rumors were expressed to Nano, I have to assume they were expressed to others as well. I hope this document and the evidence presented will convince you that I'm not the person that Cinder and Redacted tried to convince people that I am. Thank you for taking the time to read this, and I hope that any and all of the people who have been affected by this can get the closure and peace that they deserve. Yeah, for the first time in this video, I'm speechless.
So far, she's the person that's coming out
on
best
VTubing and not politics, otherwise she would have become the next dictator or something.
Like,
make no mistake, this happened because Silvervale had boundaries.
The most reasonable response.
Because Cinder would not take no for an answer. This happened because she's an unhinged psychopath. With all these different documents and everyone understanding the real nature of who Cinder was, her career was effectively burning to cinders. Sorry about that. People were very patiently waiting for a more complete statement. So after losing over 10,000 followers and waiting more than 24 hours, she finally just published it 6 minutes ago. My apology. Let's see if this can actually save her career.
Boundaries in
Cinder
2025
starts off by
couldn't
saying,
be.
there's nothing I can say to make this better, but I will try my best to properly convey my feelings, frustrations, and
I heard that this was
mistakes.
shitty
I'd
as
like to
fuck.
explain my point of view and apologize to each party affected. REdacted has been my co-content creator since I began making content, managing all aspects of what I do and being a major part of why I'm here. We have also been in a relationship since the start of my endeavors. It's no secret that many VTubers choose to keep their public and personal lives separate, and I'm no different. As of yesterday, he is no longer working with me, and I have not extensively discussed any of this with him. Where our personal situation goes from here will be figured out between us privately. I never intended to mention us
I
publicly,
hope he
but
fucking
given that the
dumps her
claims are out
ass,
there,
but I don't
want
think he
everyone to know I'm
does,
taking
right?
this seriously. After years of working on everything together, his hyper business oriented outlook warped my view of what it is I should be doing and what should be important to me as I navigate this career path. I have a
Bullshit.
terrible work-life balance as it is, and being around
Bullshit.
projects and streams all day every day made me lose sight of the point. It took all of this happening for me to realize this behavior isn't normal or healthy, and it's not an outlook I want to have. This doesn't absolve me of the things I've willingly done wrong and went along with, or the way I've treated people who were fully undeserving. Guys, right off the bat, it's not looking good, okay? This is not going to change much if the rest of the apology is looking like this. But anyway, she continues, in regards to Nanoless, for the majority of the time working with her, Red was the one
Yeah, they're
almost
fucking nuts,
solely
bro.
doing the communication about new plans and negotiations through his private DMs. Nano had a project server we were all a part of where the actual art and models were worked on, but the conversations
look,
were focused
I
around
can
the work
kind of
itself.
get it.
I was not fully
If he
aware
can
of the
swallow
extent
his
of Red's
pride because he
manipulation
gets
over Nano's
pussy, money, and
decisions,
weed,
and I should have been more
I get
diligent in
it.
my oversight. Every time I had been told that Nano had agreed to work on
I
new
get it.
commission
I
with me,
don't
had been
support it,
willingly
but I
and with
understand it.
excitement. From my point of view, it was that she genuinely wanted to be working on these things. I wanted to work with Nano as much as I possibly could, making her art the face of my brand. We had come to
I
the
don't
conclusion that
respect
it'd
it,
be
but
in
I
my
do
best
understand
interest
it,
to talk
bro.
with Nano about making more time for my projects by negotiating with her to cut out other work. This was wrong for us to push onto her, and it was wrong to the other creators who wanted the chance of working with her. There was only one specific creator we were responsible for naming and pressuring Nano into reconsidering projects
Only
with,
one,
not an
bro?
entire list. Of her
We've got
own
the
volition, Nano
screenshots.
canceled a large
We've
portion
got
of her
the
model commissions last September.
screenshots.
However, the claim that I was just using her is wrong. Wait, no, this is completely undermining what actually
Bro.
happened. REdacted pressured Nano to not work with Bao,
We've
Cotton,
got the
Silver, and there was even
receipts.
mention of Geary in there. And let's not forget that more
We've
recently,
got the
Shylily
fucking
was
receipts,
included in
bro.
there too. So for Cinder to say Nano canceled these of her own
Bro.
volition is wild, seeing that they manipulated her into doing so. Anyway, she continues, I've always treated Nano with respect, and as my friend, I did give her a lot of work, and we did everything we could to accommodate
not
her schedule if she
friends,
needed more time or a
bro.
break. And even helped her with her own project payments multiple times.
Bruh.
I've invited her on my stream, I've sent her my merch and things she's made for me, and I was always open to
You're
talking to
not
her about things
friends.
outside of our projects.
Be
in
so
the
fucking
instances
for
we
real,
would message
bro.
each other. Regarding the exclusivity deal made between them, I had no part in the direct negotiations of their eventual agreement, and I had no knowledge of Bao and Cotton being included in this list. If I had known my friends were
Is she
included,
really
I would have
fucking
said something
saying
to put a stop to it.
my
I was only
boyfriend
aware of
did it?
being about one person who I was unfairly pursuing. When Nano had messaged me about this
My
agreement
boyfriend
almost a
did
month
it?
later, I was under
It
the impression
wasn't
this was
me,
only
my
about
boyfriend did it?
Silvervale. I was upset, and my initial messages to her were very guilt-trippy, but I wasn't
Don't
going to
y'all
force Nano
live
to do anything she
together?
wasn't okay with, and tried reassuring her that I was okay with her decision. Nano had also never come
Like,
to me as
don't you
seriously
guys
and professionally as her document was looking to address the issues she had with either of us
cohabitate?
or to terminate our partnership. I had no idea there was even a conversation about Shylily recently between Red and Nano until reading her
Bullshit.
document. It's true I had confided in Red that lately I hadn't been hearing from Lily like I had in the past
Bullshit,
and was worried
bruh.
something was wrong. But that's as far as it went, and he took it upon himself to try digging for more info. And I was never even aware Nano was ever planning to work on a
Oh, I
model
had
for
no
another one of my
idea.
friends, Geary. I do not condone
Even
anything about what Red
innocent.
said about Bao in these DMs either, and
Fuck
him
you,
using
bro.
we and our in this context is abhorrently incorrect, and I believe was done to
Fuck
gain greater
you,
credibility
man.
behind what he was saying. Yes, Red and I were initially upset when Bao hired my editor, and I took it personally when I shouldn't have. I felt as if maybe my content wasn't good enough or like I wasn't paying enough for his work. But I accepted it and was happy for him for
Bro.
getting that bag and supporting one of my friends at the same time.
Were you
I don't know,
happy
at this
for
point,
him?
These things are very hard to believe. If she confided in Red how pissed she was, she's admitting that yes, she was pissed and she confided in Red. Red then used this information to add them to the blacklist. But regardless, those feelings are not things you're meant to
Bruh.
feel towards friends. Anyway, she continues and she says, and
I
yes,
love it
was
when my
also
friends
upset
do
when
awesome
Sack, the Boss
things.
Rush music video editor, had told us that he won't be working on any future project with us and would instead be working exclusively for Bao. But Red got it in his head that it was Bao's fault that it happened and
Bro.
seemingly held a grudge against her for it. He was very passionate about Boss Rush and the potential future projects around it, but he told me about a music video editor as talented as Sack. The future projects wouldn't reach the same
crazy,
heights,
bro.
so he created this headcanon that's laid out in those DMs. I wasn't convinced this was the case, but it's my fault for never
That's
speaking with Bao
crazy,
about
bruh.
these things directly to clear things up and letting it spiral to the point it got to. Every comment here about her own music, guilt-tripping, and claims about our shared feelings towards her are disgusting, and I honestly don't know why you thought this way about my close friend beyond the resentment over those two things, or why it was worth sabotaging her over.
I don't know why
again,
I'm
if you had
such a
the time to
jealous
confide
bitch,
how
I just
pissed you were about
am.
this to Red, you could have messaged Bao to clear things up.
Go to
Assuming you had
fucking
no idea what
therapy
Red
like
did,
a
it's
real
still kind of a
adult
problem
human.
that you didn't want to clear this up in one DM. She goes on to say, the "it's just business" screenshot of my DMs with Nano's
Bruh,
document
go
was from
to
November of
fucking
2023.
therapy,
And I'll
homie.
go into my thought process of everything I said here. What Red was trying to explain to Nano is that if everyone has a model by her, then the innate value of her models overall are diminished by there being an oversaturation
That is not how
of
that
type
works,
of model
dude.
out there. If everyone in the world had a VTuber model done by her, then the value of having her model wouldn't be the same as if there were only a handful of them, which she viewed as a negative for me. I understand where he was coming from with this, but in the VTuber space, this isn't something we should have pursued, so I was never upset seeing new model siblings. In many cases, I was there cheering them on at their debuts and looking to collab with them as sisters when I could.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
at
you
their
mean how you met
debuts
up
to
with
make sure
Silver
they
at
were popping
TwitchCon,
off so we
cheered
could
that you
still
guys
be
were both
friends.
Wolf sisters, and then stabbed her in the back.
So they don't
Yeah,
have to
that
fucking drop
makes sense.
them.
She continues and says, me saying it's just business was referring to my acceptance of Nano's business decisions, whether she chose to work with me or not. This was not in reference to anyone's model being cancelled, further explaining to her that it's okay if she chooses not to work with me. I can understand where the next part can sound manipulative, but my intention was to reminisce about the journey we had together up to this point, since at this time I wasn't sure if this is where Nano and I would stop working together as frequently as we had been, and I'd have to look for a new model artist. I then encouraged her to work on projects she's excited about while I talked with Red to find a project that would work with her schedule. That's definitely looking at things with the perspective of best case scenario. Like, I want to believe that's the case, but with how Red was talking, it just makes it very hard to believe. She continues, when talking about Silvervale, I need to start at the beginning. Before I was Sinder, I was a pink cherry blossom girl named Tashi that did ASMR content. When the VTuber boom happened in 2020, I knew I wanted to join in. Red and I contacted an artist in October and they were set to start my VTuber design by December. The plan was to take my cherry blossom
so
persona
Tashi wasn't even
and
a
make her pink
VTuber.
and white wolf girl VTuber. In November of that same year, Silvervale
I didn't realize
revealed her
that. Okay.
Sakura wolf redesign. I had heard of Silvervale earlier that year, but I didn't watch her streams at all. We knew we had to pivot before we were stuck with a design that would just be a copy of one of the most popular VTubers at the time. Like I've explained many times on my stream, I knew I
That's
wanted
why
to
she
be a
was
wolf
fucking
girl, so I
jealous of
mixed
her?
my love of Okami and metal music into the design and came out with a hellhound. My name was originally going to be Ember, but Red came up with the name Sinder since it was a mix of Sin and Cinder, both hell and fire themed. It was only a coincidence that it ended up being similar to Silver. I was genuinely interested
It's
in pursuing
not
a friendship
similar
with her
to
and did
Silver.
fan art myself of us together. See, that would be considered
That's a
wholesome. but
fucking
that
reach,
teeters
bro.
on the borderline of being a stalker when we know
'Cause
how
you both
hard
start with
she tried
S?
to be friends
Am
with her
I
and then
similar?
ended up backstabbing her. She continues, on the other hand, Red was in my ear the whole time saying how
Like-
great working together would be since again he's been the business-oriented side of my brand. Since I started streaming,
I
have
just
been
assumed it was a
ruthlessly compared to
VTuber
Silvervale,
ASMR
being called
persona.
the discount version of her. I was accused of copying her design, copying her personality, and even copying her laugh of all things. And there was a large number of people who were diehard believers in the fact that I stole all of these attributes maliciously for my own gain, citing the art I posted of us together, calling her
Hot take. Hot take. There are a couple of VTuber accents. There are. Okay? There are people who are out there that are trying to sound like other VTubers. That's like that. I absolutely believe that. I 100% believe that. And the reason I believe that is because of the thing I did earlier. Like, you know, the like, oh, chat, you guys are so funny. Like, that is very much, if I were to like put on that voice, that is very much like a VTuber voice, like a flirting with chat VTuber. That's even like a VTuber laugh. I laugh like a fucking hyena, but like a VTuber laugh or something would be more like, oh, chat. Like that's a thing. Like, yeah, I was gonna say there's also the Shylily accent. There's 100% people who are like trying to do Shylily, and then they're just like, oh no, I'm not trying to be like Shylily. I'm just German or something. Not everybody from a place sounds the same. And while I do respect localized accents, like it's pretty fucking clear that I'm from California. And so all other VTubers from California should be canceled because they can't sound like me. Yeah, I do think that there's definitely a culture in VTubing that gives you like a few different options of how you think that you should sound. You either get the uwu VTuber voice, which I can't really do. I'd be like, oh, twat, chat, wah, woo, woo, woo. Yeah, I can't do it. Something like that. You get the flirty VTuber, and then you can get the mommy voice VTuber. So like, chat, if I was just gonna talk to you like this all the time, if I was just like, oh, chat, aren't you guys gonna behave for mommy? Like there's that sort of thing. There's like the screaming VTubers, the ones that just sound, I don't know, like they're fucking screaming gremlins all the time. And then there's like the like German-ish VTuber accent, which I definitely can't do. But like there really are like different popular VTuber accents. And I firmly believe that having one of those might give you an edge. Fun fact. When I first started streaming like 4 years ago, my friend Emmy found me and basically had to convince me that I didn't need a voice changer because in my brain, VTubers were like high pitched, like, I don't know, just very high pitched voices and stuff. And I don't have that. I just don't have that inside of me. I can't do that. It is not part of my skill set. And so initially I used like a really shitty voice changer and probably for 2 weeks. And then Emmy and I became friends and we were on a call one day and Emmy was like, wait, this sounds so much better. It sounded like you were like, I don't know, talking in like a shitty ass, like, I don't know, like Call of Duty headphone mic, and now you sound normal. Why don't you just do this? And I was just like, oh, it's because I don't have like the VTuber voice. And then, yeah, she just convinced me that it didn't matter, which is cool because it probably did sound like shit. And nobody ever really says anything about how I sound. So it was a concern of my own making. It was like a problem that didn't actually exist that I had convinced myself existed. But yeah, this document that is, this document that is just like, oh, like sounding similar, looking similar is fucking nuts to me. Oh yeah, no, the best thing about that, Hades, is we would hang out weekly, which we still do. And like I would know, you know, what that normally sounds like. And then listening on stream, it was different. And I never thought anything of it. Tons of people do that. And then one day she just stopped and, she just became more comfortable, which is sick, you know, like it's awesome when people feel like they can just be themselves in this space. Which from everything that I'm like reading in this document, or well, I'm not really reading, everything that I'm hearing from this document, honestly just sounds like an insecure woman who wanted to perfect the formula on how to become famous. Like she just wanted to take all of the elements that were working for other people, fine tune them, and then find her fame, which no shade for that. There's tons of people in this space where their ultimate goal is to become famous, to make a living from it, to, you know, pop off, to do all of those things. However, I think that there is a way to do it where you don't have to be an actual fucking asshole about it. I mean, look, my hands are up, guys. My hands are up. What would I know about being famous in this space? The answer is nothing. But what I can fucking tell you is that I really don't think that you actually have to actively be a dickhead. Like, I feel like that's optional. I feel like that part of the fame equation is totally fucking optional. But again, like, hands up here. What would I know about that, right? Like, fuck it. All right, we're almost all the way through this. We've got like 20 more minutes of this, and then we've got a video about we've got like a 20-minute video about her 1,000-page response. And then we're gonna call it for the day, and I'll watch the V Shoujo shit another day. This coming week, I'm going to try to stream Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and other than like holidays and shit, I'm just gonna try to make that a thing. But again, I mentioned this earlier, it's gonna be early fucking streams. Like, I don't expect to see a lot of you. The only real time frame that works for us for Mr. Sleepy taking baby Sleepy is super early in the mornings before he has too many like meetings or anything. So while it's been awesome to see you guys here, I also know that in the early mornings, I'm not gonna have most of you with me. But it's been super chill to see everybody.
Her an inspiration, when in reality this was referring to the decision to become a hellhound. The only time Silvervale was mentioned in the original designing of my character was when we explained why we were pivoting to something else.
That's awesome.
And there were no references of her character involved. I grew more and more resentful of Silver over time between the constant belittling of myself, a controversy around my first waifu cup, and other incidents, even though she herself never interacted with me directly. And it was also that fact that made me insecure, like I wanted to know if she believed all these things or not. It really felt as if she didn't like that I even existed in the same space. So at the point I was working with Nano consistently, we brought up
imagine being that insecure that just because somebody doesn't want to hang out with you, you think that they don't want you to fucking exist, bro. Who cares if she wants you to exist?
Decision. But it made me feel better.
Who gives
and that's
a
why it
flying
was a constant
fuck?
topic with Nano. Red pushed for this harder than I ever did because he knew how it affected me for years, but no matter what the outcome was, I wasn't going to walk away from working with Nano. Silver was completely undeserving of this treatment, and it was my own insecurities that led me to making this choice. I became unapologetically evil towards her due to no direct action of her own. There's no excuse for any of this. It's interesting, right? Because that's exactly how she made Spite feel. And even though that was the case, she never went out publicly to say, hey guys, stop harassing her. This idea of a VTuber copying another has been a problem in the VTubing sphere for a long time, and that's the community's fault. But I personally don't like how often Cinder is throwing Red under the bus. Even here, saying Red pushed for this harder than I ever did. Yeah, so what? You were aware of this, and you were pushing it in DMs with Nano too, so it doesn't matter whether he did or not. Like, I wonder, we're not even halfway through. Is she still gonna push this narrative
I don't
that
behave
Red was
myself
doing
ever.
the majority of this, and I was on the sidelines, but I'm still sorry? It's like, no, no, you were very much aware. She continues, moving on from Silvervale, let me talk about Spite. Once again, I had no involvement or knowledge of Red bringing up Spite to Nano in 2023.
What's the worst that's gonna happen? They're gonna ban me. I'm not popular enough for that shit.
My design sheet and outfit were finished and made public at the very start of 2021. The first thing she mentions is a debut teaser in 2022 that was apparently posted on the same day as her original debut, which I honestly don't know if at the time this was intentional or not. I don't know when I first discovered Spite, and it could have been after she debuted. When I first debuted, I was very possessive of my design details.
For my branding.
A year and a half since my design sheet was finished and public to having a full VTuber debut, as I watched everything grow and change from the sidelines, and I didn't want anyone else to capitalize on my concept before I could. Soon after my original debut, I remember Spite getting an update to her model that made it seem like she more closely resembled me, including fire added to her model. Without evidence, I saw it and thought she must have copied me, but I never did anything about it other than voice my frustrations to Red. I didn't want to start drama with anyone, and I didn't have ownership over fire as a design detail.
Yeah,
the
you did
references for
not.
the ripped shirt and
That's
shorts
true.
outfit on my bikini model was given to Nano in June of 2022 with the purpose of having a cover-up outfit that would be safe for Twitch. The merch art she's referring to was designed around my concept of fire changing blue. The fact that the rest of the art was grayscale was the artist's choice since it was going onto the back of a hoodie and I didn't have a say, or at least I didn't counter that being the final decision. There was no intention to deliberately look like Spite with this piece. Unfortunately, both my Angel and Sleepy outfits being similar to outfits Spite has done in the past was just a coincidence.
Oh yeah,
I had always
totally
planned
a
to one day make an
coincidence.
Angel counterpart to my Demon outfit when it was being made in 2023,
Makes
and my original
sense.
ref sheet laid the groundwork for that idea. I've never liked theming anything around my brand in a religious light, so I chose to make my Angel form more Greek Valkyrie than biblical, which also gives it a similar look to my Demon form. The Sleepy outfit was a last-minute decision to
Sleepy
pivot from the
outfit!
full 3.0 model
Canceled.
because I had the opportunity
Canceled.
to work with gamer subs
Blacklisted.
on an AFK flavor. Spike never should have received the hate comments over her outfit or any comments comparing us or belittling her because
I'm the
of my
only
existence,
Sleepy
and I never
VTuber.
advocated for anyone to do so, especially given my experience. In regards to Spite, I'll let you decide. Was it a coincidence that so many outfits matched each other? And is it a
No.
coincidence that every time
No, it's
Cinder
not.
complained about anything to Red, he would make it personal? Anyway, she continues. Spite
Bruh.
also brought up another creator who reached out to her about their experience with me, and I can only assume it's Ninetales. They are an ASMR artist who at one point
Ooh.
posted a Hellhound original character for one of their upcoming ASMR videos, and it was undoubtedly created using me as a
Bro,
reference.
what?
This was right after my debut, and like I said, I was very protective of my design elements being unique to me, and I overreacted. Shortly after, I apologized, and they agreed to adjust the character design, and I thought the matter was settled. At the very start of my online career, I was a girlfriend-experienced ASMR artist. Before I started my channel, I had
Unsurprised.
gotten into listening to roleplay audios myself. I had always been a shut-in throughout high school and college, and I wasn't happy with where my life and relationship were at the time. After uploading my first
Your
few audios, my
relationship
channel started
with
growing
the dude
fast.
that
This
you're
was the
still
first time I was
with, you
inundated
mean?
with so many people wanting to know me and talk to me, and I got lost in the excitement of it all,
Bro.
not fully coming to terms with these messages being because of the kind of content I was
Bro.
making. I was immature and inexperienced with how to conduct myself online. I have never had many IRL friends and had met Rain doing ASMR. I quickly
This is
became
not
comfortable
an
chatting with him
excuse,
about
bro.
everything, divulging my grievances about my personal life when I shouldn't have. I cheated on my boyfriend with Rain in these conversations, flirting and sexting. I
Yeah.
used Rain for emotional comfort and sexual fantasy while I let my real life relationship collapse. It was about my dissatisfaction with my personal life and escaping into messages with someone else who I found through content focused around girlfriend and boyfriend RP. It was never about climbing the ladder with Rain, and I find that being his takeaway from why I moved on baffling. By the time I was ready to debut
Do
as Cinder,
you?
I wanted to leave that in the past. Still, to this day, I regret my decisions and have been living with it since, and I was lucky to be able to mend my relationship after this. So she confirmed she cheated, and Red was fully aware, at least as far as we know.
Jay!
Yeah, maybe
Hey,
Rain
what's
did
up?
have the wrong
I'm getting
conclusion.
caught up on
Maybe
the
she
last
actually
year.
moved on because she wanted to leave this part of her life behind, sure. But did she cheat? Yeah. She then continues and says, and lastly, I want to address Peaches. This is a very
How's
big
my
problem
favorite
I have, and
goblin?
I'm sure many others in my position do too. At the end of the day, I am one person. I am one person working on multiple projects with multiple companies, talking to dozens of people, and streaming for hours almost every day. I've never had a big
Surviving.
social battery, and I get tired
Mood.
very easily when interacting with people. I haven't had much energy at all over the past year, leading to me taking frequent naps. I've rarely been able
I'm gonna
to
try
keep
to
up
make
with
it a
my
thing. We'll
closest
see if it
handful of
works.
friends on a frequent basis, let alone everyone else. Brett has always been a big
gonna be the
help in
worst
keeping up with
schedule
things,
ever,
but he
though.
doesn't do everything. I'm so sorry I made you feel forgotten, Peaches. I've always cherished your friendship, and I was so incredibly excited to meet you in Paris. I'm so grateful for everything you've done for me, and I've never thought to purposefully drop you just
Which
because
one's
I
fucking
could.
Peaches?
I'm sorry. I know I've made a lot of
I'm
people
getting
feel
lost.
forgotten or ignored. It's so easy to get caught up in projects or what I'm doing while I have the energy to do it that people fall by the wayside. I
I'm getting
understand the
fucking
feelings of
lost.
those who resent me over this, and all I can say is I'm sorry. I don't deserve to be able to contact everyone involved directly to personally apologize, so I'll do it here in the chance they read it. So before we get into the individual
Oh, it's that
apologies,
bitch,
I just want
okay.
to clarify, Peaches means Van Peaches. This is the same VTuber who
I
called
have
her
no
out
idea
for
who the
having a
fuck that is,
boyfriend
but
and
okay.
trying to hide it from her, as if they didn't know each other. Now let's get into the individual apologies, starting with to Nano. I'm sorry I let things get to this point or even entertain the thought of you working exclusively with me. That's not fair to you. I wouldn't be here without you, and I wouldn't have been able to do most of what I've already done without you. I felt overly attached to our relationship over the past 4 years and loved your work so much that I wanted to make myself exclusive to your art and should have never sought those feelings to be reciprocated. Everything you've ever worked on for me was always so perfect, and I lost sight of how everyone else around me would have felt. I had no intentions of pressuring you into anything, but looking back on my clouded judgment, I can see how my messages felt that way. When I talked about how my models helped you improve, I meant that as looking back on how far we've come together. We've been friends for so long.
Yeah, you
and
sucked
cheered each
before
other
you
on
met
when
me,
we both started
bitch.
growing and getting more opportunities like plushies, figures, etc. You had been my exclusive artist for full life 2D models for the majority of my time as a VTuber, and of course I would have been sad if you didn't want to continue that relationship, but in all our private DMs, I was okay with you ultimately doing what was best for yourself.
Lately,
saw
I
you
don't
as
play
someone I
much.
trusted and loved and wanted to make sure you were still taking care of yourself with all the projects you took on, mine or otherwise. I never saw you as just a business partner. I thought I was reassuring you that I'd always be understanding if you wanted to move on to other projects.
Don't
I
blur
genuinely
lines. This is why you
appreciated
don't
our
blur
friendship.
professional
I
lines,
always
yo.
saw you as a close friend, and I'm sorry for what I put you through. To Bao, since the start, I've always admired you and how genuine you've always been to everyone. I wouldn't be here without you either. I'm disgusted with myself for buying into the narrative that my friends were competition. I've never had such genuine friendships in my life, especially with you. We've gotten to know
And
each
you
other so
fucking
well
burn
online
them
and in
down.
person. You've already been through so much, and the last thing I'd want to do is cause more harm. Well, that's a bit too late. But I did. I'm sorry for not reaching out sooner about these ideas that were put into my head. I wish we would have been able to talk about this too. I didn't know about the severity of things that have been said and theorized about my own friends behind my back until now. It's my fault for not realizing the things Red was saying about you. The countless friendships I've made here within the last several years mean so much more to me than him and the business side of things. Wait, did she just say the countless friendships I've made here within the last several years mean
more
so
to me
much
than my
more to me than
boyfriend?
him and the business side of things?
What the
like
fuck?
the friendships mean more to you than your boyfriend, or did you just write this like in a
Bruh.
non-clear way? Anyway, no amount of popularity or money means more to me than the relationships I've built in this community.
Bruh.
I've always been myself, whether that be on stream or in person, and I hope the friends I made can understand I never condone this behavior or any of the things that were said about my friends. I've always wanted
Bitch, you
everyone
were the
around me
one
to
that
thrive and
said
find
it!
happiness. I can't stress enough how disappointed I am that I didn't see this sooner until it got to a breaking point. I'm sorry,
What?
Bao. After all these documents and these different people and their perspectives and their points of views,
I
is there a
refuse
single
to
word that
fucking
you believe in
believe
this paragraph? Let me know in the comments.
That she had
Next up,
no
we
clue
have
what her boyfriend was
Tasak.
saying. I
love getting to chat with you in
refuse.
person and absolutely loved all the hard work you
That's
put into the
hard
Boss Rush song.
cap, bro.
I was so grateful to hear you were on board to edit the music video. I don't remember exactly why the stream got pushed back, but I definitely wouldn't have put the blame on you knowing about how soon the deadline was when you
That
started
is
working
hard
on
cap.
it. I was so thankful for your willingness to complete the project despite everything, and the quality of how it turned out was incredible. I can't believe how Red talked about you, especially after all the effort you put in for me. I'm so sorry for everything that's happened. Next up, we have Takatin and Shylily.
Oh
They don't get
no,
individual
I can't
apologies, they got grouped
believe
up
what my
together. Anyway, she
partner
says,
who
"I'm
lives
so
with
sorry you had
me
to get dragged into
and
this. It's my
dicks me
fault I let it
down
get
on
this
the
far, but I hope
nightly
you can
said
believe
to
me when I say
you.
I had no knowledge of
I
Red
had
bringing
no
you up in
idea.
those DMs. I just learned about
Be
all
so
this
fucking
myself,
for
and there
real.
could have been so many other
I
friends affected by
just
the
learned
narrative that
about
things always have
bro.
to be
Be so
competitive.
fucking
If
for
I
real,
knew Red
bro.
was trying to exclude specific friends in this exclusivity
Be
deal, I would
so
have spoken
fucking
up.
for real,
None of my
bitch.
friendships are worth sacrificing over an art piece. I love being your friend and all the memories we've shared, and I hope someday you can forgive me for allowing this to
Bro,
happen.
this is
Next up, we
damage
have
control.
Silver.
This is her
Since the
trying to
start,
fucking
I loved
damage
that I saw
control.
someone else sharing so many similar interests to me, and I thought maybe someday we could talk about it all and be good friends. I was blinded by all these hate comments around me calling me your lesser half. I hate the person I've become towards you.
Your
I tried
lesser
reaching out some
half?
time ago to try
Who
to
the
start up
fuck
a
said
friendly
that?
conversation to
Nobody
change
said that,
things and make
bro.
things right, say hi to you
Nobody
at
said
conventions
that.
and
Let's
support
be
your
so
endeavors,
real.
but despite all that, I was still being eaten alive by my own doubts and fear or harassment. I was pressured
Let's
by
be
the
so
community as a
fucking
whole
for
to try
real.
reaching out to collaborate since I got
I
these
would
messages so often comparing us,
love
and I
to
hoped we could
see
work something out. The photo
who
of me at the meet and greet
actually
was taken
said,
candidly, and I thought it looked cute, and I posted
"You
it without
are
asking you, which
Silvervale's
was wrong
lesser
with me.
half."
I was so wrong for letting everyone get
I've
in
got
my head about all
$5.
these
I've got
malicious
5 on it.
feelings.
I've
I'm
got
so
5 on
sorry
it.
for any
$5
opportunities
says that
I've
never
taken away from you.
happened.
I'm sorry, Silver. Then we have the shortest
$5
apology
says
in the
that never
entire
happened.
document. To spite. I'm sorry I had assumed things about your design that weren't true, and I'm sorry you've been harassed by commenters needing to compare us. And I apologize for the way Red spoke about you to Nano. You didn't deserve any of this spite.
Yeah,
I'm
no.
sorry. Next up, we have Van Peaches, 2 Peaches. I'm sorry if I made it seem like I was ignoring or ghosting you. I was so happy we had the opportunity to meet in person, and I was apologetic with how busy things were for me at the time. I wanted to spend more time with you, but as I got more and more DMs and messages, everything
I wanted to spend
became
more
so
time with you,
overwhelming.
but you
I've
weren't as
always had a
famous
low
as
social
me,
battery, and that
so
made it so hard for me to
RIP.
keep up to date with all my friends. I've never had any ill feelings towards you, and I still
RIP,
don't.
you should have been as
Next
famous
up,
as
we have
Silvervale, and then I
Rain.
would have been riding
2
your
Rain.
dick.
You were the first person I met as an ASMR artist during a time where I was immature and vulnerable. I ended up being consumed by the content I was making, and it led me to making awful decisions I still think about and regret. I was not in a good spot at the time. I've hated myself for this kind of behavior, and it took a long time for me to move on from what happened. I have no excuses. I'm sorry you were dragged into my drama, and I'm sorry how I made you feel after I just wanted to close the book on things. And
Hot take. Hot take, okay? Because I've had incredibly mentally ill friends in the past. Hot take. Raise your hand if you think that Cinder has BPD. Please raise your hand if you think that Cinder has BPD. Because I'm going to tell you right now, this sounds a lot like Cinder has BPD. That's all that I'm saying. No, there's no way you don't believe that. Come on now. Come on now. Come on now. This absolutely reads as borderline to me. Yeah, no, this absolutely reads as if it's not borderline, then it's NPD. Yeah, if it's not borderline, then it's NPD. Either she's borderline personality disorder or narcissistic personality disorder. I do not believe that she's neither. I do not believe that she's neither. And I don't want to target those communities necessarily. I understand that those are mental illnesses that are really difficult to deal with. I do. I understand that they're complex and intricate and that not all people with those problems are bad people. However, I also truly believe, like, okay, let's actually, there's criteria for this. Let me pull up the old Google. Give me a second. All right. Let's go figure this out together. Give me a sec. Okay. Borderline personality diagnostic criteria. All right, let's do this. All right. Now this is just the Google summary of it, okay? But this is the I was gonna say this is the classy old DSM-5, okay? Frantic efforts to avoid real or imagined abandonment. While not explicitly here, it definitely seems like she was afraid of becoming irrelevant. So I'm gonna call that a cap. That's for real. That's for real. Okay. That's no cap. That's for real. She's got that. Okay. A pattern of unstable and intense interpersonal relationships characterized by alternating between extremes of idealization and devaluation. Oh, yeah, Silvervale, I really, really, really want to be her friend. But oh God, people are saying that I'm the lesser half of her. Fits, okay? Okay. Identity disturbance, markedly and persistently unstable self-image or sense of self. I feel disillusioned with when I was sexting somebody who wasn't my partner. I feel ashamed and like I am not that person anymore. Fits. Impulsivity in at least two areas that are potentially self-damaging, such as spending. I don't know about that. Sex. We do know about that. Substance abuse. We don't know about that. Reckless driving. We don't know about that. Or binge eating. So this one is like 50-50, I'd say. This one's like 50-50, okay? Recurrent suicidal behavior, gestures or threats. We don't know that. No evidence points to that. Okay. So right now we're only 3 out of 5 for now. Okay. Affective instability due to marked reactivity of mood, such as intense episodic dysphoria, irritability, anxiety, typically lasting a few hours, rarely more than a few days. Now I can't speak to how often anything was happening, but she definitely had irritability and anxiety, 100%. That was consistent with people copying her, or she was at first concerned about copying Silver and having to change up. Like all of these things, I would say, are there. Chronic feelings of emptiness, which would be why she sought out validation through sexting. Inappropriate, intense anger or difficulty controlling anger, such as frequent displays of temper. I don't know about this, but we did see her struggle quite a bit with jealousy, which is a neighboring emotion. Transient stress-related paranoid ideation, like thinking that people think that you are the lesser version of somebody. Look, I'm saying that more than 50% of these fit. I am not a mental health professional. I'm not. However, if more than 50% of the DSM-5 fits for you, here, let's look at narcissistic personality here. Just out of humor me. Okay, narcissistic personality diagnostic criteria. Okay, let's rock through this too. A grandiose sense of self-importance, like thinking you deserve to be a famous VTuber, such as exaggerating achievements and talents or expecting to be recognized as superior without commensurate accomplishments, like trying to collaborate with Silvervale when you were still an up-and-coming VTuber. Preoccupation with fantasies of unlimited success, power, brilliance, beauty, or ideal love. Sounds like that fits as well. A belief that one is special and unique and can only be understood by or should associate with other special or high status people, like dropping your old friends who did not become as famous as you because they weren't as famous as you, and only associating with people like Bao, or only associating with people like, or trying to associate with people like Silver. That 100% fits. A need for excessive admiration checks out. A sense of entitlement, including unreasonable expectations of especially favorable treatment or automatic compliance with one's expectations. Literally your entire relationship with Nano. Interpersonal exploitation, such as taking advantage of others to achieve personal gains. That is literally you with everybody. A lack of empathy demonstrated by an unwillingness to recognize or identify with the feelings of others. I truly believe this because I believe that if this never came out, she never would have come forward with any of this. Frequent envy of others, yeah, or a belief that others... All right. So maybe I was a little bit off with the BPD, but this NPD absolutely clocks her. Absolutely clocks her. Let's be so fucking for real. I clocked the fuck out of this shit, okay? I know my trauma. I've been friends with many mentally ill people. I know what I'm talking about, guys, okay? All right, here's her apology to her community, who from my understanding, is still there. She still has a community, which is fucking crazy.
Finally, she says, I'm sorry to my pyropups and my mods for expecting me to lead a better example than this. I'm sorry to the VTuber community for looking towards me as someone to aspire to. I'm sorry to Kaiser, who's put his heart and soul into everything he's ever done for me and not even talking to you about how I felt. I'm sorry to the dozens of artists that have put their hard work into me, and I'm sorry to the rest of my friends who I've let down. I've led a bad example, and I don't expect forgiveness. I've made many mistakes over my 5 years on the internet, and I'm only one person living the one life I get for the first and only time, like everyone else. As I said at the start, I ended up developing an extremely unhealthy work-life balance, and the harm Red has caused with the way he viewed things is
every VTuber that wants to be famous has every streamer that wants to be famous.
This goes to show
horrendous
work-life
balance
and improve if I'm going to continue being a creator. I'm devastated that the friendship so special to me may understandably never be mended again. I love my job and I love all the friends I've had. Thank you for reading. Signed, Sinder. Woo! What a read. My voice is almost gone.
What a shitty apology.
What did I get out of this? Well, it was kind of what I was expecting. There's nothing she can really say that can repair what happened.
Yeah.
Sure, REdacted was her manager. He was doing the talking for her. And even if we were to believe her and give her the benefit of the doubt 100%, we still have proof, and she admitted that she was purposefully targeting Silver. All of this was also happening over the last couple of years, maybe even a bit longer. This isn't just about her not being aware and Red being the guy who did all of this by himself.
Yeah, that checks out.
She's the boss, Red is her manager, and in any other industry, this would be considered gross negligence.
There's Sims that want to be in the cuck chair.
If Nano didn't make her document, then how long
super
would this
checks
have
out.
carried on?
Or they want to put Red in the cuck chair, which apparently she's done before.
And it's actually very easy to shut down all her excuses. She was there when Bao showed her the model that Nano was working on. Throughout this entire document, she kept saying how Nano was more than just an artist. She was her friend. She loved her. When Bao vented to her and her friends in the group chat that the model was cancelled, a true friend would have messaged Nano, asked what was going on. A true friend would have reassured Bao, seen how they could help, but she didn't do any of this as if she was already planning it to begin with, and guess what? She was. Throwing your boyfriend under the bus for everything is just not gonna cut it.
Yeah, that's not it, fam.
Especially the ones mentioned in the document, thought the same thing. So they made sure to publicly reply. When she saw her response, Bao replied almost immediately saying, how? How can you say you didn't know? I showed you both my base model sketch from Nano at WeepCon. We walked on stage and performed together. You were in the group chat where I shared my sadness over Nano.
Look, we don't kink shame here.
We were so close to begin live 2D.
If Red wants to be in the cuck chair, I guess he can be in the cuck chair.
My sadness. This is the conversation
that shouldn't
happened
be forced. Consent is sexy.
Prep, planning, merch preparation. If you want to apologize to me, please do it properly and stop hiding behind Red. About attaching the 2 screenshots we already saw in Nano's document and a new screenshot showing the group chat where she vented about Nano dropping her. It's just not adding up. This apology is only making things worse and even weirder for Sinder. Shylily replied to this apology, and here's what she had to say. The absolute audacity to sit here and continue to manipulate and gaslight is absolute insanity. The pain and mental torment you've caused to the ones closest and most supportive of you has been devastating, and I have never been so heartbroken and hurt so badly for my friends. You are the fakest person I've ever had the displeasure of supporting. Reading and hearing of how you've really viewed me behind my back, not just through screenshots of your man, but also your very own messages, while having to sit here and read through these bullshit lies you spin makes me want to vomit. To claim that you didn't know a single thing and had zero awareness of what your man was up to when everyone who shared even a single moment with you knows that you basically operate as the same person, sharing every waking moment while loving to jump at the slightest opportunity to turn into your most slanderous self as soon as the opportunity was given.
Damn.
Even when talking about your friends.
Yes, go off,
I've experienced
queen.
Your own actions without Red in a situation where in your own screenshotted words you express a pressure to live up to what Lily is, and proceeded to throw one of your most loyal and supportive friends under the bus after months of continuous planning just because you consistently chose business over friends, never feeling bad for failing them. Just to earn the bag and compete with me over a V-Card collab that you rescheduled to be on the exact date your friend needed you to keep an important promise. You actively lied about it to them, instead blaming me for a collab you rescheduled, adding me to the pool of excuses to save your ass when you realized you were being a bad friend. Why blame me for choosing to miss an obligation you agreed to on one of the most important days in that friend's career? Everything you do is out of competition through your constant need to one-up people who are the sole reason you even have these opportunities and platforms to earn from to begin with. You're welcome, by the way. You claim that it's just business. Well, in the business world, there has to be accountability, and all you've done is try to shove it away and admit nothing. In true narcissistic fashion, you're only feeling sorry about yourself and your own consequences in your career and try to salvage it. I'm sorry for everyone who looked up to you as an inspiration, and I'm especially sorry for your fans. Pyropups deserve better. Wow. You know, Shylily typically avoids drama even when there's her name involved. She avoids it. She never gives it any attention, but this time, not only did she have something to say, she gave out a career-ending statement, bro. And speaking of career-ending, Sinder's post has almost as many comments as likes, with many people expressing their discontent. The most liked reply here is BuffPup saying, dude, f off. And as you can see, some of the biggest independent VTubers on the planet are here saying how disappointed they are, while simultaneously not being in the slightest convinced by anything in this quote-unquote apology of hers. It's a disaster. But you would be gravely mistaken if you thought this was the end. No, this incident is the gift that keeps on giving. Aru, the literal ass behind the Invisible Woman in Marvel Rivals. Yeah, I'm not even kidding. They actually used her as reference. But more importantly, she's a streamer and content creator who used to be a VTuber and is on friendly terms with Silvervale. She revealed to us after Sinder's catastrophic apology that her weird obsessive/stalker behavior towards Silvervale didn't start in 2023. This went on for way longer, and she tried to use Aru to get to her. Here's what she had to say in her statement. I hadn't planned on tweeting anything about this until I saw Sinder's apology. While I wasn't hurt to the extent others were, it's clear now that I was lied to and used, not treated as a friend, but as a tool. I first met Sinder during a Twitch Rivals tournament and really looked up to her. We hit it off, messaged a lot, and got even closer at TwitchCon 2022, where I spent most of the day with her and Red. At one point, she noticed I was mutuals with Silvervale, someone I admired since meeting her at PAX, and asked if I could introduce her. I thought she was just a fan like I was. Sinder invited me to go with her to Silvervale's meet and greet, and it meant a lot to me. As someone who didn't grow up with many social invitations due to being homeschooled in a foreign country, that gesture felt special. But looking back, I realized she only invited me because she thought I could give her access to Silvervale. After I introduced them, Sinder pushed me to ask Silvervale for a collab. I'm someone who rarely initiates collabs. I prefer to build friendships off-stream first or let things happen naturally. Still, I went out of my comfort zone to help because I believe she genuinely admired Silvervale. Now I know know that wasn't true. And realizing she actually harbored resentment the whole time makes me feel completely used. I wasn't a person to her, just a connection. I did message Silvervale about the collab the first time, but when Sinder followed up again, I brushed it off because I didn't want to pressure her. Over time, I started noticing that Sinder didn't treat me like a real friend, more like a means to an end. Sometimes she made it clear IRL that she didn't even like me, and I can't help but think it's because I didn't push harder for the collab. By 2023, our interactions had nearly stopped.
That checks
Still,
out.
I tried to keep things friendly in DM/IRL because I didn't know how to stand up for myself or set boundaries. Don't worry, even if you set boundaries, she would have still found a way to backstab you, right? Look at Silvervale. Anyway, she continues, that's changed now for obvious reasons. It's hard to say, but Sinder's apology doesn't feel genuine, especially not towards Silvervale. The truth is, Sinder isn't the only one who makes others in this space feel used or small. People like her, Yaki, and others made me feel that the best choice for myself was to step away from VTubing entirely and made me afraid to build new connections. But as I said yesterday, there are good people in this space, and they're the ones worth holding on to. Don't let the bad ones stop you from being your genuine self. To my community, I think I'd like to try coming back to VTubing. When we talked about it last night, hearing how much all of you love the VTubing streams honestly hit me hard. It made me sad to realize I gave up on something I love just because of the shitty.
So this girl's also a VTuber?
To the friends I pulled away from because I was trying to protect my peace, I'm sorry. I'd love the chance to reconnect and rebuild those friendships. I started VTubing because I believed in the joy and creativity of this community. It's heartbreaking to see that spirit dimmed by people who take advantage of others' kindness, hold them accountable, call it out. What I went through wasn't nearly as intense as what Nanoless experienced, but I do understand how hard it is to say no to a friend, especially when they make you feel like you're the only one who can help. I truly hope everyone affected by Sinder can heal and move forward, and I'm sorry for any negativity this situation has brought up from my side as well. She then links 3 different images of DMs between her and Sinder. The first image is from 2022, and it's Sinder starting off the conversation saying, would you want to come meet Silvervale with me at 2:30 p.m? Aru then says, of course, I'll go with you, to which Sinder says, I'm just really nervous and I think I remember you meeting her before. Dude, she is so sneaky. Aru then says, yes, I've met her. Oh my god, she's so nice, don't worry. To which Sinder said, you're the best, oh my god. Aru said, that's you. What time do you want to meet up? Sinder said, whenever you're free, and Aru said, okay, I'll be free in 10. In the next image, a few days have passed, and it's Sinder saying, were you still thinking about messaging Silvervale about a wolf girl chat? I'm not sure if she'd really want to, but I'd love to do more with you anyway. We should plan our spooky collab when we've recovered from this weekend. Aru then says, yes, let me message her and ask if that's okay. Yes, I agree, let's plan something. Sinder then says, why did I think Silvervale was a fox? But if you had a day/time in mind, just let me know. My schedule's pretty open right now. I know I'm pooped from this weekend, but I want to do lots with my friends still, to which Aru said, sounds like she would be down to play games together once her schedule clears up. In the third image, we see DMs between Aru and Silvervale, with Silver saying, hi, it was amazing seeing you too. Aru then says, I was wondering if you'd ever be down to play some games off stream if had time. Totally understandable if you're too busy though. Sinder and I were just talking about how fun it would be to have a canine night. Sinder was the hellhound that was with me at the meet and greet. Silvervale then said, that would be a ton of fun. I've been really busy lately with the con prep and stuff, but things have been calming down lately. There's also a fourth image, so it wasn't just 3, and these are DMs with Sinder and Aru around a couple weeks after the initial meetup, and it's Sinder saying, hey Aru, have you heard from Silvervale about doing a Wolfie collab with us? To which Aru said, let me message her right now. So hey, yet another person that Sinder manipulated and used. What a surprise. Bear in mind that a year later she would go on to also show up to her meet and greet and tell her mythic manager to message her on her behalf. I'm telling you, the people involved here need to get a restraining order on Sinder. This is ridiculous. Shortly after this disastrous apology, Bao went live to talk about it, and look, it was very emotional. Here's what she had to say. I'll let her do the talking.
What I would have done if I was in their shoes, I can't understand. I couldn't understand it. I couldn't understand it.
That's really sad, bro.
We had been through so much offline and online.
That's really sad.
And there's nothing more confusing and more painful than seeing someone in your friend group
No, that's really fucking
so
sad.
Kind and so warm to everyone around you, and feeling that they have slowly become colder and colder towards you, and not knowing what you did or if it's your imagination. But because everyone loves them,
Bro, that's sad.
you don't know if you want to say anything. And so you keep it to yourself, and you keep hoping it's your imagination. But then the cruel realization hits that it wasn't. And it's even more worse than you could have ever imagined.
That's super sad, dude. What the fuck?
So yeah, it's definitely a very
Bro.
hard watch. Look, to the average person, this is just another drama, but to these people like Bao and Cotton and Silver and so many more, this is real life. This is someone they've known for years and genuinely thought that they were close and they were friends and they tried their
that's
best
fucking
to treat
disgusting,
Cinder
bro.
like a precious person, not just a content creator or a VTuber. This is not something they'll just get over, right? They need therapy.
Yeah.
They need psychiatric help. This is trauma. It's very hard to trust someone after something like this.
Yeah.
As I've already mentioned, this didn't happen overnight. This was a multi-year operation from both Cinder and Redacted to backstab her friends. And she only apologized because she got caught. That's
That's what I was saying, dude.
Anytime
That's what I was
soon.
saying.
But the question on everyone's minds is no doubt, is this the end of Cinder? Well, not necessarily. She might have burned every possible bridge in the VTuber community, but that doesn't mean she won't have viewers. She's an absolute psychopath that can't be trusted, but hey, other creators have done worse things and they still have a career. She will just never be able to reach the same level she had before this controversy. That's for certain.
Is that even true, though? Or is she just back to normal now?
Gamer subs even further. She's a partial owner. I wouldn't be surprised if they dropped her. Anyway, that's the entire drama. I don't know how long
is she
the video is
still
going to be,
at
but just
her
because you made it
same
until the
peak?
end, you get the reward of seeing what 4chan has to say about it. That's right, 4chan is back, baby.
Less
it was hacked,
successful.
but now it's
Okay.
back. Let's see what they think of this drama in the mega thread.
Fucking
All right, this
4chan,
is it. Let's see what
bruh.
the top comment has to say.
Titties.
That's great and all, but I don't care whatsoever. I just want to f Cinder's tit.
Yeah, makes sense.
All
That's
right, guys, thanks
4chan.
so much for watching until the end. I really appreciate it. I love you so much, and I'll see you in the next video whenever that is.
That checked
Mwah.
out. All right. All right, we've got, this is the last video, and then I'll be back on Wednesday, I guess, and I'll look at fucking V-Shoujo ass shit. I'm just filling content in until we've got title update 4. I'm gonna be so fucking for real with you guys. I'm just doing random shit until title update 4, just to get back into VTubing in general, just to remember how to stream. Yeah, just to remember how to stream. All right, so this is the 1,000 page document explained in 23 minutes. Well, so here's the thing. If the game runs well like it's supposed to, I want to restart Wilds because I didn't get to appropriately enjoy it because it ran like shit on my computer. So, I'm at least going to try to stream it for title update 4. And then if that doesn't work, I'm just gonna pick a game and play it, I guess. I've got a fuck ton of games. We looked at them earlier, so we'll see. I just want to get like back into hanging out and doing things. And I don't know, like I've been doing mom stuff for the last year, and I'm still obviously going to be prioritizing doing mom stuff, but I can do this occasionally. No. So I do want to restart it. But it'll be open lobby, and as long as people aren't like trying to carry me through shit, you guys will be able to play with me. You're looking into the new Steam machine. I don't know if that's gonna be as strong as PC. Mr. Sleepy and I were talking about it, and I don't know hardly anything about this sort of shit, but he seems to think that even my current computer would run better than that for the purposes that I use my computer for. So yeah, for Wilds title update comes out on the 16th, I think, but I'm pretty sure it comes out really late, right? I mean, look, Monster Hunter Wilds TU4 time and date. Let's find out. Let's find out, guys. All right. December 16th. That's not what I'm looking for. All right. Well, it's not telling me what time it's coming out, but I'm pretty sure that usually it comes out really late on Tuesdays. And my computer room is now the baby's room, so I can't do anything super late. Yeah, I can't do anything super late. So my anticipation is that the morning of the 17th, whenever I wake up in the morning, I'm going to wake up, eat breakfast, and then bring my coffee here so that I can drink coffee and play games with you guys. The AI bubble to pop. Look, I was talking to my mom. I was talking to Mama Sleepy about this. And there's the showcase on the 8th. I'm not gonna be streaming that. I've got a doctor's appointment on Monday, but I'll watch it. But I was talking to Mama Sleepy about this, and like, for as much as everybody hates AI, I get it. Like, I totally get it. I also think that it's just another tool now. It like people hated fucking computers when they came out, right? And they were like, computers are going to completely replace people. There's like all of this shit. And the fact of the matter is that like people use computers, so PCs don't really replace people. And while I know that a lot of companies are pushing for AI to replace people in some aspects, I do think that, and I could be totally wrong. I'm open to being totally wrong. I do think that there's going to be a lot of repercussions from that they aren't expecting, and that they might realize that they need people to run and watch the AI. And I do think that AI is going to become just another tool that we use. For me, obviously, like, generative AI is bad. And this idea that, that like kids are chat GPTing everything is theoretically bad. But if you can learn to use AI as a tool and still use critical thinking on top of that to discern whether the AI response that you got is good or not, then I think that that's valid. Like, I think that it then becomes another tool for learning. It's when AI starts replacing learning that it becomes problematic. So I think that as long as it is a tool that is used in conjunction with working, in conjunction with learning, that it's okay. But I do think that people's willingness to let it replace actual work, or people's willingness to let it replace actual learning, is the problem. But yeah, so more Cinder shit. What happened in the 1,000 pages in 23 minutes?
Sinder is an indie American VTuber who debuted on June 25th, 2022, and was one of the top indie VTubers on Twitch, peaking at around 350,000 followers. She would get involved in a massive controversy on April 26th, 2025, when Nanoless, the artist for Cinder's models, posted a 17-page doc going over her experiences with Cinder and her manager REdacted. Following this document, several others would publish their own statements against Cinder, claiming that she was a massive manipulator.
I'm gonna watch it, just not on stream. I'm gonna watch it with Mr. Sleepy.
Cinder would fire REdacted the next day and would post her apology statement following
We always watch that shit
Cinder
together.
remained offline since the incident. However, on October 7th, 2025, Cinder would post a massive 1,000-page Google Doc on Twitter, stating that the individuals who accused her back in April were all lying. The overview. Cinder's document is divided into 13 separate sections, with the majority of the document focusing on addressing Nanoless, which is 21.2% of the doc, Silvervale, about 24% of the doc, and the overall breakdown of the events from Cinder's point of view, about 23.6% of the doc. In the document, Cinder would state that the purpose of the document is to defend herself and REdacted, take accountability for several things both revealed in the original documents and not publicly known information, and refute misconceptions that came out of the documents. Cinder would state that the document has speculative information that is mostly supported with evidence, and would call out the individuals who harassed anyone involved in the situation. The accusations. Cinder would explicitly call out 3 individuals for being the main perpetrators of the controversy. Nanoless for allegedly spreading significant slander and misinformation regarding her experience with REdacted. Shylily for allegedly, quote, orchestrating things behind the scenes and public manipulation. And Silvervale for allegedly lying about all of their interactions with Cinder. She would state that out of everyone involved in this situation, those 3 had the most to gain from Cinder's cancellation. Cinder would say that because of the extreme harassment and character assassination of her and GamerSupps, a company where Cinder had partial ownership, she voluntarily stepped down from her position in the company. The arguments. Cinder would start her arguments by discussing her status with REdacted, stating that the two of them co-wrote the document. She would explicitly say that the two of them are still together after spending time apart, mentioning that while she cheated on Red online and painted Red in a negative light in her first apology doc, where she would claim that she was blindsided by her friends and essentially forced her to publicly call Red out, the two are able to make amends after their time apart and are actively together again, claiming that the two have had communication problems for a while that have improved over time and moved past the problems the two had in the past.
I feel bad for that dude, but also he's kind of doing it to himself.
Summer of 2022 to the end of February of 2025, but moved out after having consistent streaming issues involving her setup. She would also state that Red would continue to work with Cinder as her manager, though would no longer handle work-related communications on her behalf.
Okay, let's pause this really. Let's pause this really quickly because I have somebody in chat that can kind of like corroborate this in a way that makes sense. So I'm gonna use you for a second, Christian. I'm gonna use you for a second. Okay? Gail tells you that after, you guys, it hasn't been 3 years for you guys, but it's been close enough. Like, it's been a couple of years. Gail tells you that she wants to move out because of streaming PC issues? ? And instead of figuring out any technical issues that you have, would you just be like, yeah, sure, honey? Like, what? But then you're still together? How do you go from a couple that is cohabitating to right? How do you go from a couple that's cohabitating to a couple that is no longer living together? Like, at that point, what? Bruh. I don't know if I believe all that. Yeah, I don't know if I believe all that.
To delete the original tweet where she announced that Red
was
fired.
Crazy.
She would also list a few things that Red allegedly hid from Cinder, which primarily consisted of communications with the three main perpetrators, Bao, Cotton, and other anonymous
fucking shot that she had no clue.
Cinder would move on to discuss
There's
the
no
contents
fucking
of her
shot,
apology
bro.
doc, primarily focusing on correcting statements made towards Red and her friends in that doc, reaffirming statements that the two took accountability for, and apologizing to several individuals
I
who
literally
don't
don't
have their
believe
own
it.
section in the document. When it came to discussing Red and the statements she made against him, she divided the claims made in the apology doc into 4 separate sections.
I don't know, man.
Truthful actions that Red did alone that Cinder was already aware of, truthful actions that Red did that Cinder was also guilty of, truthful actions that Red did alone that Cinder wasn't aware of until writing the doc, and actions Red did that were false. She would also list 15 things that she took accountability for in her apology, which included cheating on Red, getting overly upset in multiple instances, and general negligence. Cinder would essentially call out the people who claimed that she took no accountability for her and Red's actions, and would state that while she does understand that Red's actions were ultimately her responsibility, she would claim that she was being blamed for things that she had nothing to do with.
Hot fucking take. Even removing their relationship to each other, even removing that, okay? Even removing that, he is your manager. He is speaking on behalf of you. You should know what he's fucking saying. End of statement.
Outside of her apology,
he represents you.
22 instances where she and Red are guilty of doing something wrong, and claim that these were the only wrongdoings that the two have done, stating that every other claim that was made against the two isn't true. Some of these instances include becoming neglectful of relationships, attempting to gain exclusivity of different things in multiple cases, being openly distrustful of various individuals, and several other things. She would state that the majority of these instances occurred between August of 2024 till April of 2025. Cinder would state how her relationships with her friends were
April of 2025 is when all of this dropped,
and would apologize to them for neglecting them over the course of 2024. She would try to refute the claims that she was just using her friends for her own benefit by showcasing pictures of cosplay items that she created for some of her friends, and would say that her friendships were real.
What does that have anything to do with anything?
She would talk about how she and Red would dedicate an unhealthy amount of time towards her work, to the point where work was being done almost 24/7.
See you, Omega. Thanks for hanging out with us.
For their work, but rather an indicator of success, but did acknowledge an instance where the claims of her being, quote, money hungry would be the strongest. as the instance involved an intermission on one of her model debut lore videos that required viewers to donate bits in order for the intermission to end. However, she would state that the motivation behind this wasn't to garner monetary gains, but to implement interactivity into the debut. She would briefly go over a section in her apology regarding how she viewed her friends as competition, stating that Red was the driving force behind this narrative. Red would pitch in with his own mini statement where he would state that, quote, everyone was competition. While Red would state that the competitive mindset wasn't an excuse to hurt other creators, he would state that he did view Silvervale, Bao, and Shylily in a negative light, and saw them as, quote, direct competition in the negative sense. Cinder would go on to briefly apologize to 3 individuals in this section that didn't have enough to talk about in their own respective sections. With Tricky, Cinder would apologize to her for ditching her during a trip to Japan, where the two in Red were
Why is she
planning to
taking
go to the
accountability
Godzilla
for
store,
shit that
but ended
nobody
up
even
going
knew
there without
about?
Tricky due to her being asleep. With
What the
Cottontail,
fuck?
she would apologize for avoiding her due to a situation that Cinder didn't have any involvement in. Red would throw in his own apology to Cottontail for asking Nano to not work with Cotton.
What the actual
with
fuck?
Nixu, aka Iomaya, Cinder would apologize to her for suddenly canceling an agreement between the two and failing to follow Nixu's terms of the agreement, where Cinder failed to
Who the fuck
verbally
is
shout
that?
out her Patreon as part of the agreement. She would blame this on being unprofessional. Getting into one of the major sections of the document, Cinder would talk about Nanoless, the primary artist for Cinder, and her claims of manipulation, slandering others, and dragging her into drama. Cinder would claim that Nano's claims were the basis for everyone else to post their own statements, and said that after reading Red's DMs between him and Nano, Nano lied about her experiences. This section contains over 100 pages of DMs between Nano and Red, with the two occasionally providing context and additional information where Cinder and Red
Only
felt
a
that it was
fucking
needed. To try and get
psychopath
through the DMs, most of the screenshots
writes
in the beginning were
1,000
general interactions between Nano
pages
and
in
the
their
two
own
in their
defense.
respective DMs, with the occasional updates and discussions for commissions, as well as the occasional
Actual
praise
fucking
for Nano's
psychopath.
work. Red would pitch in from time to time talking about how Silvervale didn't like Cinder because she wasn't responding to Cinder's raids the way they wanted, as well as saying that Nano was always open to talking about drama. Screenshots of Red speculating about Silvervale's thoughts and behaviors towards Cinder were shown,
They
with some
didn't
even being emphasized.
drop everything in the middle of the game and praise me for rating
words
them.
and not theirs. More comments from Red would focus on emphasizing the positive relationship between Nano and the two, as well as trying to clarify some of the more questionable messages from Red that Nano used as evidence in her doc, such as claiming that Red never asked Nano to cancel anyone's models, though Red would later admit to offering Nano money to not work with Silver on a model. Red
ain't
would
no
compare
shot I'm
Nano's
rating
models
that.
to,
That's
quote,
why we're watching
rare
this
trading
video.
cards, by saying how the more models Nano made, the less valuable they'd become for the people who have them, stating that each model becomes, quote, less special as Nano makes more. Cinder would pitch in as well when it came to her own DMs with Nano, stating that the infamous "it's just business" DM was used in a way as an attempt to reassure Nano that if she ever had to change the status of Cinder's commissions for whatever reason, it was just business and nothing personal. She would state that, without any of the context of Red's prior discussion, her DMs with Nano could be easily taken out of context. The two would talk with Nano about her wanting to cancel her commission with Bao, which would be a decent chunk of this section,
it's just
where
business.
they would claim that Nano wanted to do this out of her own volition and was scared to do so, though Red would admit that he shouldn't have weighed in on his personal opinions regarding the situation. A series of interactions involving exclusivity discussions were also included, where the two claimed that Nano brought up exclusivity first through a hypothetical question. In a later interaction involving exclusivity, Red asked Nano to not take on any brand new model clients, and to not make any new models and outfits with Silvervale specifically. A deal was made, though it would be cancelled a month later due to her not being willing to cancel on Silvervale. Cinder would state that she had no part of this agreement, to which Red affirmed to be the case. When Nano was making a model for Shylily, Red would soon have issues with this, as he had concerns that Lily—
Okay, pause, fucking pause. Gilpsy! That's not why we're pausing. So the person corroborating that Cinder had nothing to do with anything is her boyfriend manager. And we just believe him? Yeah, I don't know about that.
and Cinder had a negative
I
relationship
don't know about
with each other.
that.
He would open up to Nano about this, claiming that he thought
Bruh.
Lily really had issues with Cinder. This would be the last set of messages
Bruh.
that Red had with Nano through DMs, and would also be around the time where Nano would stop talking with Cinder. Nano would soon add Red into a group chat with her and Nano's manager, Akira, where they told Red that Nano would be on an indefinite hiatus from working with them due to burnout. Red would accept this decision, but Red and Cinder would hint skepticism regarding the reasoning behind this decision. After some time passed, Nano would post her document to Twitter. Cinder claimed that the two attempted to reach out to Nano through DMs, but would soon delete them after. Nano would then cut off communication with them. When it came to Bao, Cinder apologized to her for neglecting her as a close friend, and for Red's general resentment towards Bao that ended up causing Cinder to feel similar resentment. Cinder would acknowledge that she knew of Bao's planned model with Nano, and felt bad that Nano canceled her model because of her. Red would also apologize for his resentment towards Bao, and admitted to reassuring Nano that she could cancel Bao's model as a way to take an opportunity away from them. Cinder would include roughly 60 pages worth of screenshots containing various interactions of the three, though a lot of these screenshots would be interactions between Nano and Red, as a way for Cinder and Red to confirm the things that happened in Nano's
No
section.
fucking
Instances where Red
shot,
developed
bro.
negative opinions about Bao were included as well. Red would bring his opinions up to Cinder, where the two would fight over it. A unique interaction would be between Red and Sacramore, the music video editor for Cinder's music group Boss Rush, where Sacramore stated that he was going exclusive with Bao, where Red admitted that he was skeptical of Sac's reason for going exclusive, and began feeling resentment towards Bao, later claiming that Bao was very negative about her own music and was taking it out on her fans, but wouldn't provide screenshots to back those claims, instead linking a tweet that, quote, indirectly supports the above claim. Red would acknowledge that he misjudged Bao's intentions and situation, and apologized to Sac for being misinformed and hostile towards him. The majority of the remaining screenshots and comments were taken from Nano's section, though there is a portion where Cinder stated that Red pressured her to not interact with Bao professionally anymore, to where she said that she refused, but would choose to keep her distance with Bao. Red would admit to doing this. Cinder would also admit to neglecting their friendship, which caused Bao to feel isolated and confided in Numi about Cinder's actions. Numi's section primarily focused on Cinder apologizing for neglecting Numi's offer to be a part of her concert in February of 2025 by prioritizing her business venture of representing V-Card over Numi's concert. The roughly 6 or 17 pages of screenshots that followed contained several sets of interactions between Cinder and Red and Numi, as well as between Cinder and Shylily regarding their upcoming collab with V-Card. Generally speaking, the interactions with Numi consisted of Red and Cinder talking about the upcoming concert, where
I've
Cinder
heard
would be
Numi's
performing an
name. I don't
original
even think
song
I've ever
composed by
seen any
Numi,
clips
and
from
the
her.
interactions with Shylily consisted of planning for the V-Card collab. Cinder would end up choosing to focus on the V-Card collab and her position as a part owner of Gamersubs, and would end up turning down Numi's request in a convoluted matter. This would lead to Numi confronting Cinder about it, to which Cinder apologized to her about the miscommunication. Numi would accept Cinder's apology. Cinder would be able to attend Numi's concert as a viewer, and told Numi that she would be at her next concerts, though it ended up not happening due to the controversy. Shylily's section focused on talking about her response to Cinder's
Like, I
apology.
recognize the
Cinder would
model,
state that
and I
Lily was the
recognize the
first
name, but
person
I
Nano
literally
reached
don't think
out
I've
to
ever
about
seen her
this
anywhere.
controversy, and claimed that Lily orchestrated the collaborative effort of canceling her, with her response
Bro,
being
what?
the final nail in Cinder's coffin. The following roughly 12 to 13 pages of screenshots
Okay.
discussed Cinder's interactions with Shylily, specifically their V-Card collab, as well as previously mentioned information from the previous sections again. Regarding the V-Card collab, Cinder admitted that she leaked information about V-Card ahead of the release date, with some of that information being completely incorrect. Shylily would be openly annoyed about this happening, and stated in her stream that, while she won't say who leaked the information, official sources were the only ones that had the correct information about V-Card, with Cinder claiming that Shylily stated that Cinder wasn't an official source of information, despite her having the information and being a partial owner of Gamersubs.
Numi's
Cinder would
older?
apologize to
Oh,
Lily
okay.
about the leaked information, to which Lily accepted.
Yeah, I've just never
at the
really
time.
seen
the
clips
two
of
wouldn't
her.
directly talk to each other for some time, until Cinder offered to play Split Fiction with Lily, to which she rejected. The last DMs between the two would involve troubleshooting OBS. Cinder would state that Shylily would never greet or thank her for 2 of the raids she did. From there, the majority of information was taken from Nano's section, though it would include an interaction between her and Bosca about Shylily's lack of communication, to which Bosca stated that Shylily only used Discord for business purposes. Cinder would send a message 5 days prior to the documents being published, to which she would get ghosted.
Thanks,
The
Guilty. That's
second largest
baby
section in
money.
Cinder's document talked about the individuals
That's
who were
baby
involved in
money.
canceling Cinder, which Cinder claimed to be 12 different people, though she suspected that more people had some form of involvement. Cinder would emphasize Shylily's involvement in this section, as she claimed that
Let me just laugh for a second at my fucking voice What? Okay, I have to pause this and listen to those again. Give me a second. Let's. I forgot about that. All right, let's replay those. That was crazy. What do I have as my chat sounds? All right, will this replay? There we go. This one I know. This one I remember. This one, oh shit, did my model break? Bro. Did my model break? Kilpsy, did you break me? Oh, fuck. I'm broken.
Sexist.
I'm broken.
Sex in my life.
Okay, that wasn't the one I was here. What is this? Oh my fucking god. What is this? Okay, let me, can I, hello? Hello? I am frozen. Hello? Oh, fuck, man. Can you guys at least hear me, or did stream crash? Yeah, can you guys hear me, or did stream crash? Oh, it looks like I'm moving. It looks like I'm moving. I think. Wait, so did stream crash? Bruh. Wait, so did stream crash? That's crazy. At least I'm moving again. Oh my gosh, but Kilpsy the fucking goat. Kilpsy, you're one of the few people I might be able to collab with if you're awake. Because I'm gonna be having to do mornings, which is afternoons in your time, at least. But most people are not gonna be awake when I'm on. I don't really have a choice. It's just the time that works out for Mr. Sleepy to have baby Sleepy. So yeah. All right, let's continue. But thank you.
Shylily manipulated Nano into believing that Cinder and Red were manipulating her, leading to Nano's doc being made and published. It's in this section where the majority of comments made in the entire document were labeled as speculative. Cinder would provide a 17-day timeline that discussed the events that happened between April 11th and April 28th, 2025, where Cinder would source previous sections and VODs to provide a general overview of the events, while also providing speculative comments regarding the details, such as potential events that may have transpired, whether Nano's manager was actually her manager, and whether Nano's screenshots of DMs were taken in different time zones or not, though Cinder feels more confident in the last manner. Cinder continues this section by beginning her dissection of the documents with Nano's doc, already ripping into Nano's first sentence with 4 separate paragraphs. Generally speaking, Cinder is refuting Nano's claims of manipulation by allegedly pointing out instances where Nano either failed to provide the full context or made up information entirely. Most of the arguments in this portion of the section have previously been made in Nano's section of the doc, primarily focusing on Nano's desire to cancel other commissions and her desire to go exclusive with Cinder. Cinder would list out speculative theories regarding a few questions, but mostly speculated that Nano was manipulating screenshots after Nano sent them to others, Nano leaked messages to Shylily due to believing that Red was lying to her instead of Shylily, and Nano had Shylily write the document instead of writing it herself. Cinder would move on to talk about Bao's document, where the general claim of this section is that Bao, along with others, was misinformed about the events that transpired, due to Nano and Shylily lying to them about the information. Generally speaking, Cinder stated that the majority of Bao's doc was full of false claims, in which Cinder claimed that Bao would only make these claims if she was told about the information by someone else. Cinder would use screenshots from Nano's section as her evidence, but would also reference Bao's stream on April 27th to assert claims and provide context. Her speculations would include Shylily contacting Bao to manipulate her, Bao's second model never getting cancelled, and Nano not wanting to work on Bao's model in the first place. Cinder's discussion about Shylily's response would be the most argumentative out of anyone else mentioned, as Cinder believed that Lily's response was what cancelled Cinder in the first place. Generally speaking, Cinder mostly focused on refuting claims of choosing business over friends for the sake of money and slandering others, though would make some choice words towards the end. Unlike the previous breakdowns, Cinder would only use around 7 unique screenshots as evidence for her claims against Lily's response tweet, choosing to emphasize her personal experience and thoughts. When it came to Shylily's response stream, Cinder would go into extensive detail, with this portion taking up the majority of the section alone. If we ignore the number of times she just says petty, which is 7, Cinder's main points were that Lily dodged collab opportunities opportunities and DMs out of her own volition, rather than avoiding problematic situations, deflected problematic things that she allegedly did, as well as Cinder claiming that Lily admitted to quote, everything she claimed was slander and manipulation that turned Nano against me in the first place. When it came to the speculations, Cinder claimed that Shylily did this out of envy and gained a lot out of lying. Lily encouraged Nano
What
to
the
lie
fuck did
in her
she
doc,
gain,
and Lily
bro?
would manipulate Nano and others to push her narrative. She would make 3 different conclusions in this section. With the general conclusion, Cinder would state that while Red did create an assumed story based on his experiences that painted those involved in a negative light, the others could have done the exact same thing towards Cinder and Red. Cinder would state that she forgives her friends for partaking in her cancellation, as she believes that they were led on and manipulated. With Nano, Cinder would state that she felt betrayed by Nano's doc, and believed that Nano's intentions were originally malicious. Cinder believed that Shylily grossly manipulated Nano into speaking out, and planned to continue using Nano's work until they can be replaced. With Shylily, Cinder would direct the majority of her negativity towards her. She would be confident in Shylily being the overall mastermind behind Cinder's cancellation, and stated that nobody would have a reason not to believe Shylily, which she allegedly used to her advantage in deplatforming Cinder. Moving past that segment, Cinder would dive into the largest section of the document, Silvervale. Cinder would be upfront in saying that the two were never friends, and asserted that Silver hated her and Red for years. She would claim that Silvervale confidently lied about Cinder when she had the chance. Just like with the other sections, Silvervale's section mostly contained over 100 pages of screenshots, but did try to have a fair amount of original commentary and analysis. The main focus of this section was disproving the allegations of copying Silvervale's design and overall personality, by showcasing the history of Cinder creating her original concept based on her previous ASMR persona, and taking inspiration for other VTubers and their outfits. Cinder would talk about how the two met through a mutual friend, where the two somewhat hit it off, though wouldn't have future collabs due to Silvervale preferring to play alone. When it came to the meet and greet photo at TwitchCon in 2023, Cinder would state that the photo wasn't planned, and was taken by Red without her or Silvervale's knowledge. She would also include a series of attempted interactions with Silvervale through DMs, however, most would be met with silence. Cinder would also talk about how some of Silver's Twitch moderators reached out to Red and applied to be part of Cinder's moderation team. Although the main moderator in question asked Red to keep their DMs private, Red would put up the DMs up into the doc. It's through these DMs that Cinder would find out about Silver blacklisting Cinder's emotes in her chat, and eventually Cinder's name as well. When Cinder talked about Silver's statement, Cinder stated that Silver only knew what information Nano shared, and claimed that she only agreed with the narrative that the others decided upon by emphasizing Silver's apparent negative feelings towards Cinder. When Silver made additional statements
Silver didn't even
like the others,
really have negative
feelings. 30
She
pages
was
of this
just,
section
like,
to try and refute the statements
she was
made.
the most
of the
professional from
rebuttals
what we've
focused on
seen.
Cinder claiming that Silver didn't tell her to go away when she felt annoyed towards her, and blamed Cinder for all of her failures. In her conclusion, Cinder would state that Silver is a quote master emotional manipulator, and was envious of Cinder's success to the point of quote seething over her existence. Cinder would also speculate that Silver never liked her and copied her, not the other way around, and tried to call out Silver for collabing with Shylily, despite claiming to prefer streaming solo. Deputy Aru's section is on the smaller end of this document, as it primarily focused on 2 particular tweets from Aru that claimed that Cinder treated her as a tool to get to Silvervale rather than a friend.
It sounded like
Cinder would
she
claim
did,
that this
bruh.
wasn't the case, but rather it was Aru who offered an opportunity to meet Silvervale through a collab opportunity. Cinder would state that Aru admitted to lying in her tweets and included about 14 pages of DMs between the two, where it mostly consisted of the two talking about the potential collab, getting art together, and hanging out off stream. No speculative theories or breakdowns are presented in this section. When it came to Spite, Cinder apologized for the harassment Spite faced for being similar to her, and admitted to knowing about Spite being excluded from working with Nano because of Cinder's personal feelings. She would then claim that Spite was contacted by Shylily, who encouraged her to make a public statement that is quote, made up of allegations without evidence, and is purely based on conjecture.
Really?
I don't know if I pronounced that right, but whatever. Similar to Silvervale's section, Cinder would begin with providing her evidence that she didn't copy Spite, and went into additional detail regarding the summer, goddess, and sleepwear outfits, as those were some of the main points Spite made in her document. While she states that most of their teasers and tweets were coincidental,
it looks like a dog
Cinder
and
does
barks
admit
like a
to making
dog.
a tweet in spite of Spite after she believed that Spite was copying her. In her speculation portion, she would claim that Spite
If it
possibly
looks like a
copied
dog
Cinder,
and barks
not the
like a
other way
dog,
around,
guys,
due to
come
various
on now.
circumstances. She would also talk about ASMR VTuber Nyan Tales and how individuals
fuck
harassed
is
her
that?
over similar designs, though wouldn't mention how she liked one of the individual's tweets, and would state that the two resolved their issues. She would conclude with a statement about VTuber designs
they
and
liked
the
each
general
other's
idea of
tweets,
copying
guys.
others,
They're basically
stating that she
married.
grew to be less concerned with others taking inspiration from her design, specifically the fire inside her ears. After her breakdowns and decoding
Oh my
of the
God.
previously mentioned individuals, Cinder would issue a formal apology to her community, stating that she regretted disappearing with a poorly made statement and wished her community the best in the future. Red would also throw in a brief apology of his own. Cinder would also call out the individuals who harassed others for the sake of defending her, stating that they are disgusting people who don't belong in her community, and apologize to those who were impacted by the mentioned individuals. To conclude the doc, Cinder stated that she plans to come back as Cinder in the near future, and is excited to get back into content creation.
The very near
responses.
future.
Generally speaking, the responses have been very mixed, with a spectrum of positive and negative tweets being made commenting on Cinder's doc. The general pattern of responses are the following: Cinder is still to blame for everything, Cinder is more at fault, but others have some fault, everyone involved has equal amounts of fault, others are more at fault, but Cinder has some fault, and Cinder is 100% forgiven. In terms of direct replies on Cinder's tweet, the responses fall towards the negative side of the spectrum, with many stating that Cinder shouldn't have written 1,000 pages as a defense, Cinder contradicting herself.
I thought she was
on
always
multiple
hard
occasions,
Gooner
and
bait.
that while Nano may have lied and over-exaggerated details in her document, there is still a decent chunk of padding, contradictory statements, and misinformation that goes beyond her counter-arguments against Nano. Outside of Cinder's tweet, the responses are more mixed, but generally fall in the moderate sides and the middle of the spectrum, though there are still plenty of people who fall on the ends of both sides. Focusing on the blue section, some of the main arguments made include that most people have a predetermined bias that they don't want to change, and anyone who didn't read the majority of the document made their opinions too early. Regardless of where you fall on this spectrum, do not harass anybody involved in this situation.
All right, guys, that's it for me today. Thank you for the warm welcome back.